Good evening and welcome to KUMB TV's Eyes Up Mother Brown. We are back after a few weeks away. I say we, of course, as you can see at the moment, it's me, myself and I presenting the stream. I'm just waiting for Pinky to hopefully join me when he can pick up a stream, and we shall be getting, again, hopefully, technology permitting, comments from Noam and perhaps Rio from the London Stadium live at halftime and at the final whistle. Of course, as those of you who follow these streams on a regular basis will be aware, it's an absolute nightmare getting contact at the London Olympic Stadium, getting a decent, reliable stream there, which is all quite bizarre. Bearing in mind that this time last week, I was speaking to the team at Ghana Hammers, which of course are based over 5,000 miles away, and we're speaking to them absolutely seamlessly. There you go. What do you make of that then? How are you all? It's been a while, as I say. First time we've got together since before Christmas. Hope you're all well. Hope you all had an enjoyable Yuletide and a happy New Year. Of course, happy New Year to all of you. And of course, hopefully managed to avoid the dreaded virus over Christmas. Unfortunately, a lot of families didn't, and had their festivities spoiled for a second successive season. But there you go. It is what it is, as they say, and we shall push on and endeavour in the circumstances. Of course, Norwich City didn't avoid an attack of the lurgy themselves before Christmas, and this fixture tonight was originally planned to take place the week before Christmas, was cancelled as a result of a handful of COVID cases in the City squad. They are fortunately now able to play, and the rearranged fixture will commence in about 20 minutes' time, according to my clock here. So, yeah, let us know how you are. Anyway, of course, as always, give us your predictions in the live chat here on YouTube, and let us know what you think is going to happen. Is anyone going to bet against West Ham securing a third Premier League win in a row tonight? Be a brave man, given Norwich's form so far this season. Bear with me a second. At this point, I would normally hand over to Noam or someone else who'd be reading out the team sheet so I can post the necessary links on our various social media channels. I don't have that benefit tonight, so I'm going to talk to you while I'm doing it at the same time. So hopefully I'll avoid saying anything nonsensical, or at least anything more nonsensical than usual while I do this. So bear with me for just a moment. And yeah, let us know what you think the score's going to be anyway on our live chat, the little box down the side over there, down there somewhere, isn't it? And let us know what you think is going to happen. Are West Ham going to score a hatful? Will it be a struggle? Will the Canaries upset the apple cart? Will Pookie punish the Hammers at the London Stadium tonight? Who knows? We shall find out very soon, friends, when West Ham take on Norwich City in tonight's Premier League encounter. Of course, it is a really, really vital game for West Ham, because if we win tonight, we're back in the top four of the Premier League. So a real something really to go for West Ham there, as they look to continue their good form overall this season. It's been a good season, isn't it? Or one thing or another. I've had a bit of a dip during December, but overall it's been a good season so far with the Hammers. Speaking to Abdul from Ghana Hammers, as I said earlier last week, and he's been following the Hammers for about 11 or 12 years now, but he said in his opinion, it was the best season, or at least the best half season that he's ever seen watching West Ham. And I was saying to him at the time, actually, I've been watching the Hammers, and my first game was 1976. But in all that time, it's difficult to look back and remember a half season as strong as this, perhaps 85, 86, where we did really well in the opening half of the season. But it's been absolutely fantastic so far, and a real opportunity now, you'd think, for the Hammers to push on and grab another 3 points tonight. Stream-wise, hopefully there's links to streams on the KMB forum. I haven't had an opportunity to look down there yet. I'll do that in just a minute, but there's usually streams on there. No more streams from Wembley, of course. He's not posting them anymore, but fortunately some of the other guys have stepped into the void and are doing that for us. Yeah, so hopefully you can all get a stream. If not, I'll be taking you through the game as it happens. Assuming my streams hold up, but we shall see. Anyway, as I say, we're for those just tuning in. Good evening, everyone. Just put the camera straight. I hope you're all doing well. Pinky should be joining me at some point this evening. Just hopefully trying to get a stream of his own. He's not at the game tonight. Noman Rio, other regulars are at the game tonight, so we're hoping they're going to be joining us at points during the game to let us know what they think of the way it's going. Excuse me. Bit of product placement there. Speak of the devil, here he is, just joining us. Should we go through the teams, actually, while we're just waiting for Pinky to come in? Let's have a look at the side, and there's a couple of changes for West Ham, which isn't unexpected. Lucas Fabianski back in goal. Two new fullbacks. It's like having two new signings tonight. Vladimir Soufal and Aaron Cresswell, both reinstated at fullback this evening. Craig Dawson, Issa Diop, Pinky's favourite, centre half tonight for the Hammers. Declan Rice and in the centre there with Lanzini, Fornals, Vlasic, Bowen, Antonio. One player you will notice isn't there tonight. Souček, presumably absent through COVID. We're waiting to have that confirmed, but Souček is out of the team tonight. It'll be very interesting to see how that goes with pretty much every available first-team midfielder in the team tonight. On the bench, we've got Alphonse Areola, Aji Elise, Arthur Masuaku, Ben Johnson back on the bench tonight. Harrison Ashby, who was rumoured to be potentially missing tonight, he's in the squad. Alex Kral, Ekwa, Okaflex, and Yarmolenko all inside. Ekwa, of course, the young lad picked up at the start of the season on the bench for the first time this evening. Before I go for the Norwich side, I should bid a very good evening to my co-commentator this evening. It's the Pinkman himself. How you doing, Pinky?
Yeah, evening all. Can you hear me there? Yeah.
Very loud and clear, mate. All good. All good.
Good. Yeah. Coming in tonight live from that hotbed of football that is Glasgow. You know, I mean, you won't find a more passionate city about football than Glasgow. Yeah, the big teams, Partick Thistle, Clydebank, all the rest of it. Yeah. But not too much West Ham United, it must be said. Obviously, you know, back in the summer when we stuffed Celtic, I think what it was, 6-2, something like that in the pre-season friendly, maybe 7-2. In what was,
were at, of course, one of the few.
I was one of the lucky ones. You know, got lucky in the ballot, you could say.
Yes, and, was that the ballot outside the pub that day?
It was the ballot that matters. Let's put it that way, and I'll say no more on that. But,
fair enough. Fair enough.
But ultimately, you know, I mean, Scotland is a football desert these days.
Indeed.
So, you know, I've been telling anyone that would listen all day today, strangers and newsagents, the guys on the counter are Five Guys, do yourself a favour, log on to your supplier of choice for tonight's game to watch the famous West Ham United up against Norwich City in a rearranged game, which, let's get that out of the way to start with. I'm going to call them out for this now. Norwich, absolute gamesmanship. Yeah. Premier League football clubs calling off matches because of so-called COVID outbreaks. Do me a favour. You know, next time one of them pleads poverty, well, they could afford to turn away regular income, you know, by cancelling these games. That's how rich they are. You don't see too many teams in the 4th division cancelling games for COVID, do you?
Very true. David Moyes was a bit cheesed off about this, Pinky, wasn't he? He was asked in the press conference earlier in the week, and he didn't seem too pleased by it, and also by the fact that it had been rearranged in a week where, you know, we played Leeds United twice, didn't we, within the space of 7 days?
Yeah, and you know, it seems to be that, you know, the people that have managed the COVID protocols well, managed their squad well. Yes, we've had players who've had COVID, but we haven't gone crying to teacher. We haven't gone to the FA and the Premier League and said, oh, what can we do? What can we do? We've actually put a team on the field and been willing to put a team on the field. And I think it's absolutely scandalous whether you're Liverpool, Norwich City, Tottenham Hotspur, Arsenal. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And at the end of the day, look where some of these teams are. They're either the teams fighting to win something or fighting to avoid something. The mid-table clubs somehow managed to put teams out, and I think it's an absolute disgrace. And just to give you an illustration of what it means to the paying supporter, my ticket tonight, £109. Could have gone to the first game, couldn't go today. No refund, no money back, no chance. So thank you very much, Dean Smith and Norwich City. Yeah. But what about the Norwich fans who were due to come, who'd booked rail fares, who'd booked their tickets, all the rest of it? And where does this
story, isn't it?
Sorry?
Same old story, isn't it? Football supporters always at the back of the queue when it comes to, being taken into account when these fixtures are rearranged. Well, what do you? Let me ask you, Pinky, just quickly. There was David Moyes was asked about the situation whereby there was a suggestion made, wasn't there, that teams that have cancelled fixtures and since purchased players in the transfer window should not be able to use those players in the rearranged games. What do you think of that? Or do you think that's a possibility? Well, I mean, it's not a possibility, but would you agree with that? Or you think that's sort of, potentially creating another huge problem?
No, and I think we've had posters on the KUMB.com forum who were very quick out the blocks to make that very point. Within minutes of games being cancelled. Kialos, a regular poster, obviously on KUMB for many, many years, she made that very point that teams that actually cancel games, when they sign players in the subsequent transfer window, those players should not be allowed to play. And it's 100% correct, because what it's doing, it distorts the league. You're shifting fixtures into a transfer window. And let's say, not picking on any club in particular, Tottenham Hotspur, okay? Let's say you're particularly weak at centre-back, okay? And your manager, who's your typical Italian manager, understands that if you're weak at centre-back, you're not going to win anything, okay? So he's gone in, he's looked at it and oh, mamma mia, what do I do here? I know if I can get just 2 games moved from before the window to either during or after the window, I might be able to sign a couple of players, or I might have a few weeks in which I can organise my current resources better. Because the difference between Champions League qualification this year or not isn't going to be 6 points. It isn't going to be 5. It's probably going to come down to 1 or 2 points, or possibly even goal difference. That's how tight it is. And so if players are allowed to play with reinforced squads, whilst other teams, other more professionally run clubs, like say West Ham United, who've actually got their act together, not cancelled any games, but we've dropped points as a consequence, that's not fair. It's not right. So I think David Moyes is on the money there. And I think it probably illustrates he just reads KUMB. That's the bottom line.
Well, we hope so. I think the other example given was Newcastle as well, wasn't it? Given the fact that they had such a terrible start to the season and they're looking to be the big spenders in January, and they're probably the club out of most in the Premier League that are likely to benefit from such a policy. Yeah,
and look, I get it. They're all competitive beasts. They all want to win. They all want to do whatever they can, and anything that gives them an edge, they'll take advantage of it, and whether that is a club, a manager, or an individual player. I don't think Traore oils his arms up, as a fashion statement when he's playing for Wolverhampton Wanderers. He's doing it because he believes that it makes it harder for defenders to grab hold of him. And there's nothing in the laws of the game that prevent him from doing that. So I say, good luck to him for that one. But when it comes to actually, choose my words carefully here because lawyers tend to watch, should we say, inventing possibilities of COVID tests that you can then later say they were false positives. So they were positives, which is sufficient evidence to get the FA or the Premier League to call the game off. But then when you've got another game coming up, because, oh no, they were false positives, so they can come out of isolation and they can just play. It's just nonsense, the whole thing. Disgrace.
It is. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. It is really. And it does seem, there was an example of someone calling a game off the other day. I forget which Premier League team it was, but they used COVID as an excuse as well as injuries. And also players being called up for the African Nations Cup as well, which I'm not sure has ever been used as a reason to cancel a game before in the past. Anyway, here we are. We couldn't moan about it, but this is where we are. West Ham United versus Norwich City, just about to kick off. To my left, looks like a pretty sparsely populated stadium. I've got to say, it's probably, I'm guessing, around 45 to 48k there. Before we carry on, we should go through the Norwich team. We haven't had the opportunity to do that yet, so I'll go through that very quickly. In goal is Krul, not Al Kroll. Williams, Gibson, Hanley, and Aarons. The back four for Norwich, sitting at just in front of them in the two defensive midfield positions, McLean and Lees Malou. You've got Rashika and Placheta out on the wings, and Ida and Pookie up front. Looks like kind of like a 4-2-2-2, if you like, almost a bit Richie Beno-esque, if you will, for Norwich tonight. But what are you thinking tonight, Pinky? It's got to be a West Ham win, isn't it, this one?
Yeah, I think we've got a pretty strong team out this evening. Nice to see Magic Aaron Cresswell back.
Yes, it is.
The information I have was that he was actually a possibility for both of the last two games and withdrew just before the match day squad was announced. So he's been there or thereabouts for a couple of weeks, that's for sure. Obviously, going against that is the absence of Tommy Souček. But you know what? Giving him a week or 10 days off, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Put his feet up. He's an extremely hard-working player for us, and I think he's earned a bit of a break. I think what we've got on the pitch tonight really ought to be good enough. But having said that, Norwich are coming down our left flank. He's looking to find a way in. Good defending, doubling off him, plays the ball back. Cross slung in, and again, our centre-backs are 6s and 7s. And I have to say,
it didn't take long. It didn't take long.
I have to say, the player who I really didn't want to mention tonight, he's there again. And him and Craig Dawson, they nearly presented Norwich with an opportunity. I'll put that down as we got away with one there. West Ham are now looking to build now. The imperious Declan Rice on the ball, looking very calm, composed, plays the ball forward. And who was that? Was that Vlasic miscontrolled it and we surrendered possession. Norwich back in control, playing the ball square within their own box. Disappointing about the crowd there tonight, Graham, because one of the things I thought was very impressive at the weekend was a magnificent turnout for the FA Cup.
Yes, it was, wasn't it? 54,000, I think, wasn't it? The
54,000, is in a competition that people keep telling us is dying. Not to West Ham United. You're obviously a bit ahead of me there.
Carry on. Ignore my.
Okay, so we're building attacks. Some smart into play now. All comes in. Oh, you've got to score there, son. You've got to score there. Jared Bowen, I'm sorry, but, Danny is not going to be happy with you tonight. She's just chucked a wine glass to the left. I can tell you that from nothing, yeah? Because he should be scoring.
What an opportunity, huh? What a chance. What a great chance.
Put himself in acres of space. Great ball played in from. He turned well, got the shot off. A yard either side, and it's 1-0 West Ham, but it was not to be. But again, West Ham building again, coming down the left-hand side, and dispossessed there by the Norwich player. So, we're doing okay so far. Bright start, but just looking at that east stand, and they're some of the better seats in the ground. To see so many of them vacant, that just goes to show the impact of a rearranged fixture midweek, and that's a great shame. It's a great shame.
Yeah, certainly is. 3 minutes gone. If you're just joining us, West Ham 0, Norwich 0. Jared Bowen with a really, really good opportunity, as Pinky just told you there a few moments ago. Clear through, clear shot on goal, straight at the goalkeeper, straight at Krul. A real good chance. That's really the one criticism we've got of Bowen, I think, Pinky, isn't it? The moment that, his finishing's been better in recent weeks and games, but, you've got to take those opportunities at that level, haven't you, really?
It's the difference between a, dare I call it, a £40 million footballer, which is what he probably is at the minute, and a £70 million player, because he's got everything going for him. He's got youth, he's got, athleticism, he's got energy, he's got work rate. He's got plenty of skill, but he just needs to stick the ball in the onion bag a bit more regularly. And, Here he is again, him and it looks like Soufal stood over the ball. Free kick to West Ham about 30 yards out. Bone it is that puts the ball in. Diop at the back and just heads it lamely and takes the Norwich keeper's hands. Bit of a shame that, but again, Tim Krul there stood there in a rather fetching pink top, must be said.
Lovely.
I found it strange that Newcastle let him go, actually. I thought he was a perfectly competent keeper. Not the youngest anymore.
He seems to have been around forever, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like Fabianski, one of those players who endures, as it were.
Very much so. And what a magnificent season Fabianski's been having with us. He really has. Some brilliant analytics put up on KUMB last week, authored by Mike Hare, who first time I'd seen his work, but I thought it was really good, really outstanding stuff. And, he did a whole review of our squad, showed the strengths and weaknesses, and it just showed that actually, essentially, we're in credit with Fabianski this year because the opposition should have scored 3 more goals than they actually have, down to his efforts. So they always say a good keeper's worth probably 6 points a season to you, and there's the evidence right there. So, but if you haven't seen it, there's a whole thread on KUMB where you can click on the links, and he goes into not only our current squad, but he looks at potential transfer targets, and puts a very good justification next to each of them. Really interesting reads. If you haven't seen that, I'd highly recommend it. We're on the attack again here now. Pull the trigger, son, and he does it. He does it, but he thinks he's at Twickenham, not the London Stadium, because Manuel Lanzini, that was high, wide, and handsome. But again, positive stuff from West Ham here, because Vlasic is having a field day down the left-hand side here this evening, and we're managing to get the ball pulled back, and we're going to score some goals tonight, no question.
Yeah, it's looking a bit. I must apologise for not having much input so far, but my stream is up and down, like the proverbial lady of the night's underwear, unfortunately, at the moment. So I'll leave it to Pinky to bring you all the latest, and I'll interject if I can. I just want to have a quick look at some of your score predictions tonight. As you can guess, most of you are going for it. All of you, in fact, I think so far are going for a West Ham win. Nick Forbert, hi Nick, good to see you back. 2-0 West Ham, another win while playing within ourselves, he says, back into that top 4. And David O'Rourke going for a 3-1 to us. And Polaroid, another one of our regulars, good to see you chaps, 4-1 tonight. He says, I can feel it in me marrow. So let's hope you're right, guys. We could all certainly do with 3 points. Back in the top 4, Pinky, that would be something else, wouldn't it? After what was, to be fair, a reasonably disappointing December, but understandable given the amount of fixtures that we had during that month.
Yeah, and it's been the trademark of David Moyes, second coming, that he's actually got on with the job with what he's got. He hasn't allowed his players to use a wafer-thin squad as an excuse. He's not spoken about, bare bones or any of the usual rubbish that we've had to listen to and this is, West Ham again in all sorts of trouble at the back, and again, Declan Rice comes back, does the proper job of a defensive midfielder, tracks all the way back and blocks Pukki's attempt to get across to his teammate. And we look shocking at centre half this evening, it must be said.
Yes.
Yes. Just looking at the crowd, there's 5 in the crowd that I would say would be better options than Issa Diop. But in all seriousness, Moyes has gone with what he's got, done a great job.
Yep.
To be anywhere near the top 4, is an excellent return. And the question was asked the other day on KUMB: have we had 2 consecutive top 6 finishes as a football club?
Never, I don't think, have we? Never in our history.
So. I don't think so. So
remarkable, really, isn't it, when you think about it?
I mean, dare I say it? We're looking quite good. There's actually an air of professionalism around West Ham these days that is, some of the players that work the lounges at the minute, the old corporate thing, naming no names because it'd be a bit unfair, but they must look at the current professionalism around West Ham and think they've come to the wrong ground on a match day. Because back in their day, it most definitely wasn't, should we say, as structured as we are these days.
Indeed.
Credit to Moyes and his team.
Very much so. I'm going to ask you about Dean Smith. David Moyes, in his pre-match interviews, felt he was pretty harshly treated by Villa. Done a decent job with various clubs now. Of course, managed to get Villa up, kept them up. We had the opportunity to send them down, didn't we, on the final day of the season? One of our first eyes up Mother Browns, if I recall, when we drew 1-1, and that saved him. Do you think he was harshly treated by the villains? And do you think he's got any chance of keeping Norwich in the Premier League this year?
As our good friend Crunker Hammer once wrote on the forum, there's only two types of managers: them that's been sacked and them that's going to be sacked. Okay. It's football management. They all get the chop eventually. Arsene Wenger, what the hell did he ever do for Arsenal Football Club? Yes. Wenger out. Etc. etc. And ultimately they all know the score. But that's why it's such a fantastically well-paid job, because not only do they get paid for what they know, they get paid because they're in a very precarious line of work. Do I think he was harshly treated? Yeah, I do, because ultimately he'd done a pretty good job there. Unfortunately,
they didn't give him much time, did they, this season?
Yeah, but you can't. You can't. Because if you slip into the abyss that is the Championship, the financial consequences are so painful that no club chairman, if he's got any other option, is going to allow it. And you look at Burnley at this point in time. Burnley, they've been forced to sell their star player, really. To a relegation rival. There's not a snowball's chance in hell that Sean Dyche would have sanctioned that sale. Other than he was powerless to stop it because Newcastle met the release clause on Wood. So he's now got the problem of a much weaker team, while his relegation rival has got his star performer. And I promise you this, Burnley Football Club, even though they've just given Sean Dyche another long-term contract, they'll be looking at that and thinking, do you know what? We'll give Sean another 2 games, but if we don't win them, we may have to pull the trigger. That's the nature of the sport, I'm afraid. And
it is that, and just no one's really given the opportunity to build, are they? And this is I think this is one of the saddest things about football at the moment. It's very much about the here and now. It's all about instant gratification. David Moyes, I guess, has been quite fortunate in that sense that he's been able to do it relatively slowly. But of course, as we know, had West Ham been relegated or been on the verge of the bottom 3, as Pellegrini was 2 years ago, you can guarantee that Moyes would have felt the axe come down on him as well. It's, as you say, it's just the nature of the game at the moment. Talking about the game, because we haven't talked an awful lot about it in the last few minutes. Not a lot happening, is there? It's been relatively quiet. But West Ham definitely looking the better team so far.
Yeah, very, very much so. I mean, we're suspect at the back, but we look scintillating going forward. And, we're West Ham United supporters, so I think we'd take that. But you'd like to think we'll get a goal before half time, because this is the classic banana skin, whereby a nasty clash there between Soufal and Lanzini. And Lanzini's, I mean, he's caught a bit there, but let's be honest, he's not getting any uglier. So he'll be on his feet in a minute or two. Bowen just having a breather with David Moyes as his Declan Rice. So we're just using this as an opportunity to have a bit of a breather. But I'll be very surprised if Lanzini didn't do the chap in Jerry Maguire that gets up, and does his little dance. What was his name?
Never seen it. Couldn't tell you.
You've never seen Jerry Maguire? Okay.
Never seen it. No, I'm no, not my cup of tea. Really, is it good?
Okay, I mean, I know you're a big fan of rom-coms, but and that does surprise
my favourite genre.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Yes, yes. But
David
no,
Moyes looking quite.
yeah. I mean, David Moyes. I mean, he's in a great spot, isn't he?
Yeah, totally.
Spent relatively little, sitting in and around fourth, fifth spot. A happy squad, scoring goals for fun, playing in front of 50, 60,000 every week. Yeah, laughing his head off at clubs that have let him go in recent years, whereby, there they are, a decade after Fergie gave up, they're still looking for him again.
Yeah.
And when the reality is, they had the right manager at the first time of asking. They just mishandled the transition. But to go back to the thing about time for managers and all the rest of it,
Yes.
the average Premier League manager, their tenure is 94 matches, and something like 85 to 90% of them only ever manage one club in the Premier League.
Wow. That's some stat. That's really some stat. 2 years, effectively, 90 odd matches, I suppose. But it goes to emphasise the point, I guess, that I was making, that nobody now is given the opportunity to build a squad, unless I suppose you can do it. Who's the guy at Southampton who took them from the third to the first division, the Scouse guy, and Dean Smith, of course, with Villa to a degree. But of course, the problem is, as Norwich's former manager has seen, once you get to the top flight, it's none of that really matters a jot when it comes to it, and clubs just pull the trigger far too easily these days. And it's not often, is it? You get clubs that do that are in big trouble and manage to get out of it. I mean, obviously Sam Allardyce had a record, didn't he, for a big name for doing that, until obviously he went to West Brom last season and it all went completely south. But mostly it doesn't really happen. And when we've not seen, they talk about the new manager bounce, but I mean, Norwich certainly haven't seen it, have they, for one, this year?
No, and I think there's a bit of a myth around as well. I mean, I've always been of the view that the game's about players. The manager, he organises the players, determines the tactics, blah blah blah, but he isn't teaching a 25-year-old how to trap a football. Yeah, he can't do that. So if the players don't have the basic raw ingredients that are required, then doesn't matter. You could be Matt Busby and Alec Ferguson combined. You ain't going to make him into a better player, to any significant degree. So you've got to have the right ingredients to a certain extent. Of course, a good manager can get a bit more out of a given group of players than a bad manager. But ultimately, only in Britain do we talk about, managers in the long term and what have you. If you're in the Spanish league, if you're a Real Madrid fan, you wouldn't be surprised to see a different manager in each half.
Yes.
I mean, they're a club that have seen managers win the Champions League and get fired.
Yeah.
Was it Busquets that did just that? Yeah, they had a manager one season, won the Champions League, and got the chop.
Yep. Is that right? I don't know. I'll take your word for it. But yeah, I mean, that's even worse than the Premier League. We talk about the Premier League people, pulling the trigger too soon. But I suppose it's a lot worse elsewhere. It can be. 17 minutes gone anyway in the game. Not a lot happening at the moment, as you can tell by the fact that myself and Pinky are pontificating on all sorts of other football-related stuff. West Ham have had the early good chances. Norwich, a couple of forays into the box, nothing really threatening so far. But it's been a pretty dull opening so far. Just having a quick look at the other scores tonight. I'm looking now. There is another game being played tonight, isn't there? I'm trying to find it. Or is there? Are we the only game tonight?
Tottenham are playing Chelsea in the Carabao Cup.
That's why it's not showing up. They're losing, aren't they? I do believe.
I don't know.
Chelsea have scored. Anyway, let us know if you're watching that on the stream. We're supposed to be bringing you the news, but perhaps you can tell us, myself and Pinky, as you can see, frantically tapping away at our respective keyboards. Yeah, Chelsea have won up. Rudiger scoring the only goal so far after 18 minutes in the first leg of that semi-final. Anyway, far more important matters here at the London Olympic Stadium. West Ham United 0, Norwich 0 so far. 19 minutes gone. The game it's pretty much developed into the sort of pattern I think it would so far, Pinky. But what's your thoughts? I mean, obviously, West Ham missing Thomas Souček tonight. First game he's missed for an awful long time. Pinky, there's an ooh coming out of you. I can sense there.
Yeah, there was. I mean, terrific. Route one pass played forward. Antonio very close to getting on the end of it, and but I have to say, I mean, tactically, you can see what's going on here now. Norwich are deliriously happy to see any one of our back four on the ball, and no attempt to press them. They just close down the space, 10 yards off them, so to speak, and just say, do you know what, pass your way out of there, and they can't. So again, I spoke 10 minutes ago about analytics and all the rest of it. All of these players, all of them get detailed dossiers on who they're playing. That's what the managers say. So this is what we're going to do tonight. And they'll know Issa Diop can't pass for toffee. Yeah. Craig Dawson, not his strongest suit. Yeah. And you think back to the old days or, several seasons ago, the teams used to actually press everyone to force the ball to Ginger Collins. Yeah.
Yes.
And once the ball got to Collins, great. We've got the West Ham player on the ball who we want on the ball, and now watch him launch it into row F. They know what they're doing. It's not an accident. Corner to West Ham, poor corner. Vlasic in possession, plays it left. The Fornals now on the ball, throw into West Ham. So we're in a fairly good position at the moment. We're about 10 yards from the dead ball line on the attack. So good opportunity this. Ball slung in. Fornals, easy take ultimately for Krul, and comes to nothing. I mean, we've gone a little bit off the boil, if I've got to be honest. Norwich now, they've dragged us down to their level. And you very much get the impression that Norwich now keep it 0-0 to the 85th minute and then go for the mugging. It's straight out of, dare I call it, the Sean Dyche school of how to win games of football, kill the game and try and nick something at the end. And it works, by the way.
It does. It certainly does. Against us a couple of times. Brentford didn't it early in the season, didn't they? Of course.
Yeah.
22 minutes gone. We're still waiting for our first goal here. I just want to go back very quickly to something Pinky mentioned, the analytics pieces earlier in the week. Michael Hare's first-time contributor to KUMB.com, one of several really, really excellent young contributors we've had come to the site in the last year or so. And that piece, if you haven't seen it, is incredible. It must be 7,000 to 10,000 words long, probably more than that. Actually, it's almost like a novella, let alone an article. We put it over 3 parts in the end, which you can read if you haven't done so already. As Pinky says, there is a thread in the forum. The links are on the homepage of KUMB under the opinion section, or of course you can go to the opinion tab in the main menu at the top of the screen and just look at the articles home section there, and you'll see all 3 parts, all about the summer recruitment. Part 1, I think, Pinky, was about the current squad, wasn't it? Parts 2 and 3 about our defensive and attacking potential signings, anyway, players that Michael felt would be a good fit based on these analytical survey, I suppose you could say, of what's out there at the moment and who's available. Brilliant stuff. And also, of course, don't forget, talking about young stars on KUMB coming through in what is, of course, our 25th year. I'm going to have to mention that time and time again, I think, this for the rest of the season. Also, the 2 lads, or 3, I should say the 3 lads who run the podcast, Chris Wilkerson, who pens our match reports, with Jack Elderton and Callum Goodall, 2 absolutely brilliantly clued up young guys who will give you the superb analytical.
Great ball
stats
there from Fordall. Sufo knocks it back, and again, a move that was deserving a goal. Fornals, deserved a goal there. Some very good positive play by West Ham. We are looking by far the more likely team. Fantastic pass wide from Fornals. Sufal pulls it back, and to be fair, the Norwich player tracked his man did just enough to put him off there. Bowen now just to take the corner kick. Ball slung in. Headed away by the Norwich player. Oh, comes back in. Oh, very close there. I mean, there's a goal coming. There's a goal coming.
Get the feed. I think we were at about the same time there. We almost oohed in unison for the first time tonight. So, good stuff.
You know,
my stream's still terrible, by the way.
You know, with Valentine's Day approaching, I mean, is it any wonder?
Oh, I'm going to start blushing. But anyway, going back to what I was saying very quickly, Jack and Chris and Callum on the KUMB podcast. If you look at the KUMB main menu bar, you've got the KUMB stroke WHU link. Look under there, you'll find all the podcasts that the guys have done. They do one pretty much every week. It's fantastic analysis of West Ham's performances on a match by match basis. Rising young stars of KUMB. Definitely those guys. Anyway, back to the game. We are 25 minutes in. West Ham, we've got another corner. I'm seeing someone receive treatment. Sort of in the goal mouth, I think, at the moment, Pinky.
Yeah, I mean,
what is that?
It doesn't help with the flow of the game. I'm trying to see who it is that's down there. So
yeah, I can't see. Oh, here we go. Oh, it was Bowen, I think.
No, it was Vlasic.
Quite sure why he was down there. Was it? Of course, it is number 11. Yeah, Bowen standing next to him with the words Bowen on the back. It's a bit of a giveaway, to be fair.
Indeed,
but, we have we have a corner anyway, don't we? Another corner from the other side.
Yeah, I mean, that was Vlasic. Good to see him getting back on his feet. I mean, he had an excellent game at the weekend. I thought he was by far our standout performer at the weekend. Yep. So, you know, maybe David Moyes does know a thing or two about spotting players. You know, I just think the league that Vlasic has come from is a difficult one then to adjust to the Premier League, and it takes a bit of time. But
very much so.
What have we got planned here now? Ball pulled back. Lanzini. Oh, pulls the trigger. To be fair, easy take by Krul in the end. But, you know, we're trying something different now, which is good to see. He just hoofs it long. Creswell's back straight away. Tidies up West Ham back in comfortable possession now. Lanzini on the ball. Plays a square to Declan Rice, who, of course, you know, good players have always got time on the ball. They just look comfortable, don't they? You know, again, bad players just hoof it long to the opposition. And
I was waiting for that one. It was like the good, the bad, and the ugly.
The West Ham back on the ball again.
For a few seconds.
I mean, it pretty much doesn't matter what Norwich try. It's just coming back at them and coming back at them and coming back at them. We're in total command of this game. And Antonio now on the left flank, doing his trademark little movement of the hips. And, you know, he's obviously a bit of a dancer. Working very nice. A lot of close interplay down the left flank from West Ham, but Norwich dispossess Antonio. But immediately, we win the ball back again, deep in the Norwich City half. I mean, if you're Dean Smith, you're going to be furious at that. You do the hard work. You take the ball off our forward straight away, rather than clear your lines. You know, it's almost like watching Barcelona in their heyday. You know, winning the ball back off them within 6 seconds and all the rest of it.
Without the goals, of course, so far,
and without the debts. You know,
yeah, that's true. Isn't that the truth? Well, they're still selling players. They were looking to get rid of all sorts of players.
They've managed to just scrape under the threshold,
right?
So they could register the lad they bought from Man City.
The young guy.
Yeah, but truth be told, I'm not sure they've got all that much to sell. That's how bad the situation is there. You know, without getting too ahead of ourselves. If we did a squad, I'm not sure how many of Barcelona's would get in West Ham's current team. You know, seriously.
That's the sign of the times, isn't it? Unbelievable. I mean, they've got some good youngsters coming through, haven't they? But you know, they sort of got to that point, haven't they? Where I think Real Madrid did a very similar thing a few years ago, where all their players were aging and reaching the end of their careers, and they all seem to have gone. You know, at the same time, obviously the financial woes that they're experiencing haven't helped. But there's a thing, eh? West Ham better than Barcelona man for man. Well, we might even find out yet, mightn't we? Because of course Barcelona are in the Europa League now this season. So,
what you think? I just mentioned it casually on the off chance.
Of course, of course, of course. You never know. Wouldn't that be a fantastic
Yeah,
day
and
out?
and you
Anyway,
know what? The history books, if you rock up at the Camp Nou and you turn them over, they don't have a little asterisk next to it saying, "Please note, it wasn't the Barcelona of the great days." It says Barcelona. Yeah, and that's the nature of the beast. But there's two examples there of two football clubs that have been badly run by, dare I say, club chairman, too powerful, and it's why a football manager who has to manage in the round and make decisions about not giving contracts to aging players and not giving contracts for shirt sellers.
yeah.
Need players that can run around, do things for you, and if you look what David Moyes has done to subtly reshape our squad, he's got the energy in the part of the team where you really need it. We've got the energy in midfield now, and slightly further forward, and a few cart horses at the back. And you've got to have it. You've got to have people in this league that can run around in the middle of the field. If you haven't got that, you're not going to compete.
Yeah.
Norwich now bring the ball forward. Well cut out by Soufal. Plays the ball inside to who else but Declan Rice. Declan overran it a little bit, knocks it back to Cresswell. Bit of tidying up to be done by Fabianski, and launches it long. And hey presto, clever play there by Vlasic. Yeah, the Norwich player won the header, and Vlasic then very quick to put himself between the ball, his body between the ball and the Norwich lad. Commits the Norwich lad to the foul, and that's the sort of thing that I think David Moyes has bought him for. That kind of intelligence to turn not a great situation into a better one. Soufal now on the right flank beats it. Oh, Soufal, what are you doing? He's tackled and then does a bit of a diving swan. I'm not sure which way this booking's going to go. Is he giving it to the Norwich lad?
It was
I'm not convinced this is a bad challenge at all. Let me see it again.
No, he did throw himself up in the air a little, didn't he?
I mean, Vlad, we don't want to see that at West Ham, son. I'm sorry, but that is, that's just poor. I mean, you're a better player than that. And if the opposition did that to us, we'd be up in arms. That's not good, Anyway,
no, I've got to admit, I didn't see it. My stream, it was amazing. My stream stopped at the point he was swan diving, the hands in the air, the feet raised up, and it's not good to see. We saw Vlasic do it, didn't we, against Leeds at the weekend, and got a lot of criticism from the fans. I'm sure Soufal's going to get a bit of that again tonight.
Yeah, and so he should, because do you know what? That's everything we hate about what other clubs do. That win at all costs. Yeah. Call it what it is. It's cheating. And okay, it was just a foul, but don't pretend that you've been hit by the second shooter on the grassy knoll. Ball played in, and again, Lanzini, he's got his Twickenham boots on tonight. He thinks he's playing for the Pumas, because I kid you not, that's gone 40 yards in the air from, 18 yards out. But again, just keep the opportunities coming. 32 minutes on the clock. There's a goal coming. There's a goal coming before half time. I would be very surprised if this goes in a 0-0 in a quarter of an hour's time. Waiting to try and get a ball. Is this time wasting or is this legitimate? Where's the ball gone? They're all looking confused. Can we have a ball, please?
Where are you? Can you give me a quick time check, Pinky? Because I've just changed the stream to something that seems a little bit
33:05:67.
Okay, good stuff. Well, you're about 10 seconds ahead of me, but I'm going to stick with this one because it's the most reliable one I've had so far tonight. So, I'll leave it to you to make the big calls tonight. But we're still looking for our first goal anyway. 12 minutes to go until half time. West Ham 5 shots so far to Norwich's 3, 2 on target to Norwich's 1, 58% possession. West Ham to 42% Norwich, although that was, to be fair, I haven't refreshed the page. That was a couple of minutes ago, but I wouldn't have thought it's that much different now. Yeah, we're not quite at the races at the moment, Pinky, but just perhaps need a bit of luck. But I think it all kind of goes back to that really early chance, doesn't it? Jared Bowen, that opportunity in the second minute, we should have been 1-0 up. And of course, if he scores that, puts a completely different complexion on the game for the next.
Yeah, well, it does. Let's not kid ourselves. Norwich are where they are on the table for a reason. It's because they're not very good. Yeah. And therefore, whilst there are no games that you should win, if you know what I mean, there are games that should be easier to win than others. And this is most definitely in that category, whereby there won't be a manager in the league that when they play Norwich at home isn't thinking, right, I must get 3 points here, because you've got to. Mm-hmm. You've simply got to, because if you don't, pretty much everyone else is. And in league football, that means you're going backwards relative to everybody else. Owen on the ball now, and again, Norwich played as just enough. Should be a corner at West Ham. It is. Yeah, Williams there. Yeah. Did his job. Allows his team to regather, and I advise everyone to pay close attention to this corner kick that's coming up. Corner play short. Bowen on the ball on the edge of the box now, puts it in, and does somebody get a head on it? But it's a goal to West Ham. It's 1-0 West Ham United, and I'm not sure whether it was straight from Bowen or whether someone actually came with a glancing header off it. I think it might just have been straight from Bowen. I don't think a player actually connected. Oh dear! Bad news coming up. Sit down, everyone, because our friends at VAR, not your night, is it? Is it, Gerard? Yeah.
What's he given
again here? Yeah, there's an offside
from the corner. I'm just seeing the replay. Okay.
Bowen takes the shot. There's a player who's actually kind of in front of the keeper. I think it might be Vlasic who's called offside. I think that's what they've done it for.
Well, I'm not quite sure why, because Vlasic he's not involved in play, is he? The ball swung in.
Well, how are you not involved in play if you're the middle of the 6-yard box? Listen to yourself.
Well, no, that's the old Brian Clough thing, isn't it? If you're on the pitch, you're interfering with play. But is it been decided? Because I'm a few seconds behind you here.
Yeah, goal disallowed. Goal disallowed.
Definitely been ruled out. Yeah. I think. Sorry, Pink. Yeah, I think having looked at that again, you can see Vlasic clearly makes an attempt to go for the ball, and it obviously comes across that crawl. And I guess in some way, maybe do you think we're perhaps paying for that one on Saturday, where I think most of us, would have felt incredibly aggrieved if we were Leeds fans to see that one given. Maybe VAR thought that giving us 2 in a row was just simply too much for West Ham.
No, I mean, to be fair, if I was a Leeds fan, I'd have given up on life many moons ago. So look, I'm not a fan of VAR, and it's the inconsistency, not only in decision making, but what it is used for. So why are fouls, obvious fouls and punishable fouls on some parts of the field but not the others? So why do they get the VAR out in some parts of the field and not others? It's just make it up as you go along rubbish. West Ham again in the Norwich box. Norwich got loads of players back. West Ham with 5 in the Norwich box, but outnumbered by about 2-1 by the Norwich defence there. So Norwich getting back in numbers. I just wonder if the way to make the breakthrough is give Norwich a bit more of the ball, because we're dominating the ball tonight. We're absolutely dominating the ball. And consequently,
I tell you, you know what, you just mentioned it there. Sorry, Pinky, cutting in on you again, but you just mentioned about how many players they had in the box. Just counting them because I'm a few seconds behind you. 8 outfield players in the box when the ball was played into Lanzini. 1 right on the edge in the D, and no idea where the other one was, but he certainly wasn't too far away. But I think it's a really good point you make. Let them come at us a bit, create space behind them, because we're finding it difficult. And we always do, don't we? It's not West Ham's forte to play teams that do this.
Well, I mean, for us in particular, because our current centre back pairing is, shall we say, on the suspect side of the scales, we might be reluctant to do that because, it's one thing giving the opposition the ball to draw them out. It's another thing actually saying, and by the way, if you come forward enough, often enough, you might realise our centre backs are a bit pony. Um, so, it's a balancing act. But when you see there 8 Norwich players in the box, you know, they're getting up and down the team as a unit reasonably well, must be said. Um, Given the ball, I mean, currently they've got what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 players in our half, eight players in our half currently, something of that nature. And it's just, can we actually win the ball and then break really quickly? Because when we were scoring goals for fun, that's exactly what we were doing. And
Yeah.
I think some of that tonight wouldn't go amiss. I think it's absolutely true that we look at seeing better on the break than we do in possession. I think we haven't quite got the patience to play the 200 passes around the edge of the opposition's box when it's packed with defenders to pick out the eye of the needle pass that unlocks them, a la Man City, that they do with monotonous regularity.
Yeah.
I think we're better when we can get in behind teams. They've got half their players stranded upfield, and we do have the players that can then take advantage. But currently, we're in the ascendancy. Rice just playing the ball forward on the left-hand flank. Fornals picks it up again, launches it relatively long. Vlasic now trying to make something happen there. Touch of the Teddy Sheringham's about Vlasic in the way that he'll run into the opposition's players. Look, ref, he fouled me just as I was headbutting him, that kind of thing. And it's all the time with him. He's trying to get involved. And you can absolutely see what David Moyes likes him as a footballer. You really can.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to go down too well with the fan base if he keeps throwing himself to the ground like that. I mean, it was, he felt that, but you're never going to get those in a million years, are you? But I've got to say, I like him. I think he's a good player, and I like the fact that most of our fan base is willing to give them a chance. I think part of that also is that they've seen what Moyes has done with Pablo Fornals, have seen what he's done with Said Benrahma, perhaps to a lesser degree. But the point I'm making, of course, is that he's given them a year at least to settle into their first team and get a feel for football in England, or at least in the Premier League, because Benrahma, of course, played in the Championship, where it's just as cut and thrust. But he seems to be coming good anyway, slowly. And I'm sure with Benrahma out in the African Nations Cup, he's going to get the opportunities to play, isn't
he? Yeah, he is. And it's very much a case of, players often whinge when they're not getting picked. Well, actually, when you do get picked, take your chance. That's what you got to do. Rice on the ball now, plays a lovely ball out to the left flank. Cresswell, I think it is, sends the ball across. Not a great cross. Soufal picks it up on the far side, puts the ball back in, and it's in. It's in. A headed goal. There you go. Gerard Bowen, thank you very much. Yeah. Danny, what's for dinner? Yeah. I think she'll be happy now. She'll be absolutely delighted. And why shouldn't she be? Because her boyfriend is developing into an absolute superstar for West Ham United. He is probably, there you go, I'll stick my neck out. After Rice, I think he's probably our most valuable player because he makes things happen. Somehow, again, he's a busy player. In he goes, good header, beats his man cleanly in the air. Thank you very much. VAR, do your worst.
Yeah.
West
Do you know
Ham
what?
United, a goal up. That's a good finish. If that was Alan Shearer heading that, you'd say, well, that's a typical Shearer goal.
Yeah. And what's interesting as well, you talked about Bowen making the difference. I think what really made the difference in that move was our fullbacks reinstated to the team. Declan Rice with that raking pass out to the left, to the overlapping Cresswell, which is something we've not been able to do in the last few games in his absence. The deep cross to our other fullback who's been out, Soufal, puts it back in, and there's Bowen once again to finally get his reward. So just goes to show, doesn't it? And Cresswell, it strikes me as one of those players where it's almost as if, and before I say it's with the caveat that I've always been a big fan of his, but it's almost as if in the eyes of many West Ham fans, he's got better and better with every week that he's been out recently.
It's often the case, the professionals will tell you that, some of the best matches they ever play are the ones they don't, because ultimately, supporters will criticise the players on the field long before they'll criticise the players in the treatment room. And if a team's not performing well and is dropping points, the players that aren't in the team suddenly become world beaters. But in Cresswell's case, in fairness, for the last year, he's had an absolutely golden patch in his career. And, again, the ability to throw decent crosses in as an attacking, potent weapon doesn't half help. It really helps when you have that option. And, sometimes he goes off radar, but actually his defensive work as well. If you see, what he actually does defensively, he doesn't give the ball away. The Masuaku song should actually be the Cresswell song. Cresswell very rarely gives the ball away to the opposition. He's a good, neat, tidy footballer, and delighted to see him back tonight. And 1-0 is the absolute least that West Ham United deserve tonight, because we've been utterly dominant in this game. We've been very sporting. We've given Issa Diop another game at centre back, so Norwich cannot say that we're not giving them a chance. But in truth, Norwich haven't looked like scoring this evening, and West Ham could have had 3 or 4. That's for certain. Fabianski launches the goal kick long, comes back. What are you going to do with it, Issa?
What are you going to do, Issa? What are you going to do?
To be fair, let's be fair to him. If he'd cost £2.2 million, he wouldn't get nearly as much stick, and it's not his fault that we paid that fee. Yeah, but you have to say he's not represented good value at this point in time, and we need a centre back, and I'm afraid he's not the answer.
No, I think that's becoming obvious the more that he plays, which is a shame, really, because he started so well, didn't he? And he's just really gone off the boil. But West Ham, of course, as we said, scoring at the possibly the most opportune moment, just 3 minutes before the half-time interval, having threatened to do so. We, of course, had the ball in the net before that. We should point out, I guess, Pinky, of course, that Norwich did force a save. This is how poor they've been tonight, unfortunately, Norwich. But they did force a save from Lucas Fabianski just before the goal, low to his left, and they just had a free kick which was put across the area in a very dangerous position from the left flank, floated across the box where no one met it, and it just went out for a goal kick for West Ham. But summary of Norwich so far in this first half. I mean, have we got anything to be worried about in the second half?
No. It's the long and short of it. The reality is, since the goal, I mean, you can just look at them. The heads have dropped. Yeah, the heads have dropped, and for a team that's facing life in the Championship, these players are not for Norwich, are not applying themselves. They're not running hard enough. They're not working hard enough. Mm-hmm. If I was Dean Smith, I'd actually be saying to these guys at half time, you obviously want to be Championship players. Yeah. Because do you know what? You're not prepared to run around enough to stop that becoming the reality. Yeah. If you haven't got all the skill in the world, and I'm not saying these are pub players, but they're good pros, but you've got to run around. You've got to work hard. You've got to try and get the ball. Yeah. Well,
even more so if you're technically, inferior to the opposition, you would guess, and that's clearly the case, isn't it, with Norwich? I mean, that's the point. They're just not very good players. I say they're not good players. Of course, they're good players. They're playing in the Premier League, but in comparison to their peers, the teams they're playing, they're clearly a different standard of player, and it's difficult for them. But you're absolutely right. You've got to put the effort in, haven't you? If that's the case.
Yeah, and if all you've got is work rate, well, you better show it. And tonight, Norwich aren't showing nearly enough of that, because we go in there at the half-time break. We're a goal to the good. Jared Bowen, who's, could have had a couple tonight. Again, we said earlier on, You know, he's got everything. He makes things happen. He does this, he does that, but he just needs more goals. What does he do? Scores one, has another one disallowed. Really pleased for him. But West Ham United, I mean, we are coasting through this game. And, Norwich City, it must be said, they are staring into the absolute abyss here because they have been extremely limited this evening. And they're just showing again, Bowen's fantastic goal. Pretty poor celebration, it has to be said, by Bowen. I mean, I think he should probably delegate the celebrations to Antonio and at least give the fans a bit of a giggle. But no, I mean, we look comfortable, Graham, and
yeah,
1-0 at home. I'm sure the supporters who have gone along tonight, and credit to all of them that have, because it's a rearranged game. It's middle of the week. It's after a very, packed Christmas campaign. And yes, there are plenty of empty seats in the stadium tonight, but ultimately 45, 50,000 there. That's a good turnout for what most supporters would put down probably before kickoff as a regulation 2-0 win. Most people say 2-0. That's what that'll be. It'll be about par. And I've seen nothing this evening to suggest otherwise. Good value for our money for our lead at half time.
Yeah, very good summary. Perfect. It's kind of been the Jared Bowen show, isn't it, really, in the first half? I mean, just taking a look at my rather less than copious notes that I've managed to take, given the fact that I had such a terrible stream for the first half hour. Jared Bowen, of course, as we said earlier, should really have put West Ham ahead inside 2 minutes when he was fed inside the box, pretty much right in the centre of the goal. Only crawled to beat, could have picked his spot, sent it straight at the goalkeeper. Probably came to him a little bit early, not quite warm. But a real good chance went begging. Diop had a header a couple of minutes later, straight at Tim Krul. Lanzini, 2 or 3 times, I think, Pinker, we mentioned, put the ball, if not into Rose Ed, certainly in somewhere in the stand or nearer to the stands than its intended target. West Ham did have the ball in the back of the net 9 minutes before half-time. Jared Bowen corner went curled straight in, but VAR intervenes, and not for a good reason, to cancel the goal. Niko Vlasic adjudged to be offside, probably rightly. I think in the circumstances, I don't think any of us would really have any complaints on that one. Disappointing though it may be. Norwich not really had anything to offer. We said there was a save 5 minutes before half time. Is probably the closest they came to breaching West Ham's defences. And then, of course, the goal came at a really great time for West Ham, right on the cusp of half time, 42 minutes. Jared Bowen, a move started with Declan Rice, played the ball out on the left to the overlapping Aaron Cresswell. Cresswell sent a deep cross in that found Soufal on the far side, which he centred again for Jared Bowen for a little glancing header to put West Ham deservedly, as Pinky quite rightly said, 1 up at the break. We are joined, and then there were 3. We are joined, yes, we are joined. We are joined by Noam, who is live at the London Olympic Stadium this evening. Noam, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. You look pretty chilly there, my friend. You're well wrapped up, it seems.
I'm well wrapped up, so I'm not chilly. So yeah, I'm all right.
All right. Fair enough. West Ham 1, Norwich City 0 at half time. Your analysis of the first half, deserved lead. Should we perhaps have scored 1 or 2 more?
Deserved lead. I think we need to up the tempo a little bit. We're kind of playing it in their hands. We've been very slow and deliberate about the build-up, and that's kind of just what they want, really. I mean, every time they get the ball into our half, they don't look as if they feel they can score. It's very tentative. And, where we need to what we need to be doing is really what we did for the golden counters, which was going forward quickly. The ball from Declan. Stop dancing. The ball from Declan.
I'm getting into the music behind you. Sorry, my apologies.
The ball from Declan, which was inside the defender there. That's the sort of thing.
Yeah, fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Cresswell overhit the cross. Soufal picked up the shortest kind of pitch, scores with a header. Something I know well from my days of playing with it. But we need to be doing a lot more. I mean, it's been a little bit ponderous for my liking. And I fully expect them to be getting a bit of a rocket at the interval and over
Okay. Right. Well, one thing that Pinky pointed out, Noam, and you kind of alluded to it there, really, is that by mentioning that pass threaded through from Declan Rice, is how Norwich have really packed the defence and made it very, very difficult for us. There was one point which we spoke about in the first half when the ball was played into the box. West Ham, I think it was Lanzini, picked it up on the left-hand side of the box, looked up. And there were 8 Norwich outfield players between him and the goal, like 10 yards away, and 2 were right on the edge, you know. And it's rare that we've had the opportunity to actually get behind them. Pinky suggested that perhaps we might be better off giving Norwich the ball a little bit more, just to encourage them to come out and give us the opportunity to find that space. And of course, that's where the goal came from in the end, when we managed to do that.
Yeah, sucker them in. You know, this old sucker punch really is. And as I say, I don't see any harm in doing that. They're not that good at dealing with the ball when they've got it. You know, it's very sensitive.
Yeah.
You know, you can see why they're bottom. I mean, there's no surprise. But
No.
yeah, a little bit more intelligence, a bit more guile, and a bit more pace. I mean, you know, the usual thing, and it's something not just today, but something that's always been a bit of a bugbear in mind, is when we get throw in. And there doesn't seem to be any urgency. It's like, let's pick up the ball and wait for everybody, all our players to be knocked, then we'll think about throwing. Nobody's looking quickly for the ball in those situations.
Right.
You know, so you guys want to take the advantage of me on the disallowed goal.
Well, I was just going to come to you on that. It's almost as if you read my mind. Any questions about that? Any qualms? Once or twice.
I don't know. I've not seen the replay of it at all.
Okay.
The situation. What did bug me though is those situations where the linesman thinks it's offside and then allows play to go on. You'd have thought that his flag would have gone up the second the ball crossed the line. But it was like it was about a minute afterwards. He then stuck his flag up. It's like everyone's on the way back at that point. Now I'm guessing they've done the VAR check and I'm assuming it was for an offside. I can't see any other.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the cross has come in. Nico Vlasic is in an offside position when it's come in. He's made a move towards the ball, and Kroll's kind of in two minds whether to go for the ball. I think we both agreed. It seems to be a fairly clear.
Fair enough. I've got no problem with that.
No real arguments with that, I don't think.
Yeah, I've got no problem with that. It's just a delay because the linesman didn't stick his flag up for a good minute after it had gone in.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. I'm going to pass you. No, I'm going to pass it over to Pinky now to see whether he's got any questions for you. I've been gabbing on long enough. Pinky, you got any thing you'd like to ask Noam, who's obviously there in the stadium tonight?
Happy New Year, mate.
Yeah, how you doing, Noam?
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
I mean, there seems to be quite a few empty seats. I mean, is it genuinely as empty tonight as it looks on the TV, or?
There's a fair few. I mean, there's seats either side of me, and the lovely people who sit behind me, as you see, they've got seats either side of them as well. And there's little clusters dotted around on the other side. Yeah, Graham's waving at me. I mean, I was listening to you earlier on my way in. And people I suspect people are a bit like you. Yeah, they had into their plans and stuff for the 18th of December. And it gets rearranged at reasonably short notice. It's midweek, and people often can't make midweek games anyway, let alone ones that have been rearranged. So there's a decent clusters of seats all around. I guess to be expected under the circumstances. That's the way things are. I want to pick up on something you said. Absolutely nothing to do with this game, really, Pinky. But you were talking earlier on about the manipulation, shall we say, of COVID postponements and valid point, and agree with the general tenet. Although you did say that teams in the sort of fourth division, you were saying, they don't count. There's been plenty of games cancelled in the lower divisions, but you've got smaller squads down there, and I'd say that it's not a case of they don't cancel games, but they don't unless they have to. And if somebody's postponing a game in League Two or whatever Division 4 called this week, it's a fair bet that they have to. Because they've probably got all their fit players, and it probably doesn't come to.
And that's a fair point. What really grinds my gears about the top flight teams doing it, if you've got so many players on your books that you send them out on loan, how can you possibly mid-season then seek games to be called off because you haven't got enough players?
I mean, the iffy one was Liverpool postponing a match. I can't remember who they had last week, and then playing Shrewsbury. If we tried to postpone the game recently, I mean, people would have quite rightly pointed out to the team that we put out against Dinamo Zagreb, which was, basically made up of young teams. Well, if it's good enough to play in a group match of the Europa League, surely they're good enough to play in the Premier League, which obviously we turn around and say the situation is different, but it's an arguable point. So the other interesting point you have is the one about if you sign someone in between now and when the game's replayed, should you be allowed, or actually played, not replayed, should you be allowed to pick a new signing? Saying no is a good idea in principle, but in practice, how far do you allow that? I mean, it's a case of, in a cup match, I think it works because you can say, well, if they weren't signed in time for the original tie and it was due to have been played, we know that the game's going to be played fairly shortly after. It's going to be fairly quick. You've got to get it in before the next round.
Yeah, it's any regulation's got difficulties to enforce, to actually hammer the point home. But one of the disappointing aspects of this whole affair, we've had the COVID pandemic for 2 years now. The Premier League should have been far better prepared, and the FA far better prepared for, in the event of, what do we do? That's kind of the point. And I think the fact they weren't really prepared. So when Tottenham, I think it was, first out of the blocks to try it on, they didn't have a ready-made response. And I think
we might have lost Gnome.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like Gnome's gone. To be fair, I think we did pretty well to get him for about 10 minutes. I think that might be a record for the London stadium, as you yourself know, Pinky, from the various times we've tried to communicate.
If ever you needed confirmation that it's not a full house tonight, it's the fact there's some bandwidth left.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? I mean, I was saying before you came on that it was ludicrous that just around this time last week, I was speaking to Abdul, the president of the Ghanaian Hammers, some 5,000 miles away streamlessly from Ghana, and yet here we are, a week later, we can't even get hold of Gnome, who's 35-40 miles up the road. But anyway, nothing changes. Should we have a quick look at the forums to see what everyone's saying? I've just been looking while you and Gnome have been chatting there.
Sorry. Yes, I'd love to be able to do that, Graham.
Yeah. Okay. I asked for that one, didn't I? Really, I guess. I'm fortunate enough to be able to be. I'm going to take the opportunity, and I'm going to do this once because I'm quite frankly, I'm afraid all I've been doing is apologising via email and other methods this week. But I do profusely apologise to all our members who have been unable to access the forum for the last few days or whatever. It's we are experiencing serious issues with the cookies on the forum. We are working diligently to try and resolve it. Believe me, I'm spending an awful lot of time with our tech team to try and figure out to get to the root of the problem. We are getting there slowly but surely, but please bear with us for a little while longer until we do so. Norwich, not a happy bunch, as you'd expect. I'm looking at the Pinken.com, which is the main Norwich forum these days. They seem quite surprised that the goal was cancelled, actually. Drazen Muzinich saying, wow, just wow, VAR in our favour. The Gun Show adding, VAR is great, isn't it? Best thing since, just goes off there. Corbs, looks like three of the current bottom four are going down. Leeds, Everton, Villa have too much about them, and the bottom four are cut off without likelihood of a rally. Obviously, resigned to the fact that Norwich are going to be having a very, very difficult the second half of the season, which of course is right. The game's just started, by the way, with the second half's underway again. And this is an interesting. Now, you'll probably never see this comparison anywhere ever again, but the same poster, Drazen Musinic, following the opening goal, said Jared Bowen, Dean Windass, all over again. I should point out that was in reply to someone talking about the lack of transfer activity. So I presume at some point Norwich was supposed to sign Dean Windass, but didn't. And Leeds were saying that actually at the weekend. They also felt they were in with a shout of signing Bowen. But anyway, interesting stat, probably not a very interesting stat. Dean Windass was the last player born in the 1960s to play in the Premier League. Not quite sure what age he retired at, something like 34. I think he was at Hull, wasn't he, when he called it a day? But the last player born in the 60s to play in the Premier League. There you go, another pointless stat for you. Shannon's Windmill says, we're done now. We don't score goals. It's just a matter of how many we lose by Kincanary. It's another game where the midfield is utterly anonymous. I'm sure we'll get the usual. He wasn't the worst player on the pitch, but it's criminal Kenny McLean gets so many games at level he's clearly not good enough for. Unfortunately, that would appear to be something you could level at most of City's players out there tonight. We're just looking at West Ham. Michael Antonio plays the ball inside. Little ball dinked across the area. It's come to nothing, but West Ham looking a little bit dangerous there. I can get on the KUMB forum, so I can let you know that WC Pete said it was a decent first half for us. We really should be 2 or 3 up. Lanzini with a few upper deck chances. Dawson with a freebie left foot volley, a questionable VAR goal cancellation. Not sure about that. I think it was pretty obvious, that one. What a difference having Cresswell back makes. No disagreement there, Pete. He manages the game much like Rice does, but from the flank. No easy task that. I think we need a little more from Antonio. It should be a mismatch for their centre-backs, but they're doing a good job from him. Just in West Ham a corner. Vlasic has had a shot and it's gone. It's taken deflection. It's a corner on the other side. They're doing a good job on him. Would love to see us ramp up a gear in the second half. And Pete also says, just saw the no call on Kroll's near decapitation of Vlasic. How was that not called? I didn't see that one, Pinky. Did you?
No, because I've lost my stream and
okay. I can tell you what's going on. What you're waiting. Bowen plays it short. It's Lanzini puts it into the box. It's poor delivery. One of Norwich's 36 outfield players in the box manages to clear it, and West Ham win the ball. Craig Dawson wins the ball, but it's a free kick given against the Hammers. Let us know when you're back on, Pinky, and I shall pass the reins back over to you. At that point, 48 minutes gone. West Ham United 1, Norwich City 0. What are we expecting of West Ham in this second? I mean, it's a difficult one to manage, isn't it, Pinky, in some senses? You're 1-0 up. You're against the team that, what possibly if not one of the, but, maybe the worst team in the division. Do you go for more at this point? Or do you sit at 1-0 and just, make them ask you some questions and try and exploit it?
You go for more. 1-0 is a very dangerous scoreline because in the blink of an eye, you drop 2 points because someone's had a fluky, swing of the boot from 20 yards out, and they get a goal. So you have to have at least a 2-goal cushion when you're playing this sort of team. And as I pointed out earlier on, the fight for to get into that Champions League spot, and let's not kid ourselves. There's 70 or 80 million pound at stake if you get up there. It's big money just to get into. The TV contracts are being renewed. It's huge money now if you get into the Champions League, let alone win it. And we need to be pushing there because ultimately, another goal, could be the difference between having a goal difference that sees off somebody else for that spot. You're grinning away. Something's gone on there. So we've either conceded.
I wish you could see this. Timu Puki has just pulled off one of the most outrageous dives I think you're ever likely to see on a football pitch. Vladimir Sufar was within about 3 yards of him, and he's just. I mean, we see players swan dive, but it's normally when there's a player in close proximity. Sufar's not even close to him. and he's pulled the legs back up and thrown himself to the ground. And I think the referees sort of just laughed at him and ignored his protestations. And he's then had the audacity to rise from the deck and start limping away in kind of, sort of mock fashion. It's all quite hilarious, really. But fortunately, the referee didn't fall for it on this occasion, probably because he's in a yellow shirt rather than a red shirt or a blue one, perhaps. But anyway, we are through the first 5 minutes of the second half. I don't know, okay, so we've just seen an interesting incident where Vlasic has gone to deck again in the box. It's a dive. It's another dive for the Croatian. I'm getting a bit cheesed off with this. It's about the third one he's pulled off in the game so far. But there was definitely a pull on his shorts by his opponent just before
absolutely.
that.
And this is where the players will say, "Look, if I don't go down, I won't get it." But he'll say,
"Yeah,
I was being fouled." Pulling on his shorts, it's a foul. He was damn nearly showing.
But is it a foul if it's not enough to bring him down? I mean, technically it's an infringement, but
it's an attempt to bring him down. If
it's a bit of
he was through a goal and someone pulled on his shorts just to drag him back half a yard, not enough to bring him to the deck, but to stop him getting away, it's a foul.
Well, there's an infringement. But I'm just saying, in that particular example, he's tugging him, but it doesn't seem to have impeded him. But you're absolutely right. It's a tough decision to make as a striker. I guess he's got to get his timing a bit better. You see some of the players that your Mo Salahs who are experts at timing those dives. Vlasic isn't quite at that level yet, is he? Not suggesting for 1 minute we'd like to see West Ham players do that, but of course,
no, not at all. I mean, absolutely not at all. But if you're going to do it, pick your moment and make sure. Antonio in a good space there. Oh, do you know what? He's done everything right there. He's gathered the ball in. He's spun quickly. He's pulled the trigger, and it's gone 86 yards over the bar. And he appears to have hurt himself in doing it. But again, clever play by West Ham. Clever ball paid in now. 1-2 back. I mean, I'm not kidding you. A top draw striker to actually receive the ball, back heel, then pull the trigger, all pretty much in one movement. You'd say you're good if you can pull that off. Did everything, but actually keep it on target. Great effort by Antonio there. Great effort. But he looks like he's hobbling away now. Sorry?
Yeah. Well, let's hope he's. I was just going to say he scored a goal very similar to that, didn't he? Recently, I'm trying to think who it was against.
Yeah, who was it against? Can't think.
Let us know in the live chat if you can remember. Very similar goal where he received the ball in a similar area with his back to goal turned and fired home. But we'll keep an eye on that one anyway, because as Pinky rightly says, Antonio, a little bit of discomfort after that. Did the defender just fall upon him? Do you think on that one? Looked like there was a bit of contact after he went to ground.
Yeah, no, I mean, the defender was doing what I call just enough to put him off, but not enough to stop him actually, turning. I'd actually credit Antonio there. I thought he did everything right. And quick mention of some of the stats earlier when I was talking about Diop who can't pass. Of course, the stats show that in the first half he completed 32 of 34 passes. But a word to the statisticians: square balls that are 2 yards to your right don't count.
We're just seeing Norwich throw the ball into the area. West Ham in a little bit of disarray at the back, but really well tidied up in the end by West Ham. I think it was Dawson who headed the loose ball back to Fabianski. But the first time Norwich have really threatened West Ham, I was going to say in the second half, it's probably the first time in the entire match when we've looked a little bit concerned at the back. But anyway, West Ham building it. I'm taking it, Pinky. You've got your stream back there. Anyway, it's all good.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. And
good stuff.
Thing that I've noticed this half, we're seeing a lot more from Antonio this half. He seems a lot more interested. I just wonder if David Moyes has had a quiet word at half time and said, you are allowed to run around a bit, Mikhail. Because he looks a lot more interested this half, and he needs to be, because frankly, if you're in the goal scoring game, which Antonio is these days, it's easier to get 2 against Norwich City than it is to get them at Manchester City.
For
You
sure.
know,
For sure.
and at the end of the season, when you're going to see the chairman or you're looking for another contract somewhere, the fact that you've got 15 goals in a season, they're not looking to see whether you've got all 15 against Norwich. That's not how it works. So
yeah,
a bit more from Norwich at the minute on the attack though. We're on the edge of our box. Yeah. Now he skinned Cresswell rather too easily there. Ball comes in. Diop does the right thing, knocks it behind for a corner kick, allows us to gather. I don't know if the temperature down south is vicious today, but there's a couple of West Ham players wearing gloves tonight. What's it like down there today? 10, 12 degrees?
You're asking me?
Oh, of course, yeah. Our northern correspondent.
I guess I suppose in terms of the two of us, I'm the southern correspondent tonight, but I'm not quite sure what the weather is down in London. Let us know on the live stream how chilly is it down there. But it is a corner for Norwich, who looked a little bit livelier the last few minutes, Pinky. They've picked up a little.
Oh, now here's an opportunity here. Bowen through. Oh, and the Norwich defender gathers. I mean, basically a good, fairly long ball from Antonio. Fornals in the middle, gets his Swede on it, knocks it forward. Bowen running onto it. Yeah, I mean, if we'd managed to get a goal there, that would have been pretty much goal of the season. But the Norwich defender did just enough, cut across Bowen, and ball goes for a corner kick, I think. Has it gone for a corner? No, it went for a Norwich goal kick.
Goal kick, I think. I think it's gone for it,
Yeah. And again, like
good stuff.
Days, 46 passes across the back by the centre-backs, just to try and bump up the possession stats, make it look like they know what they're doing. Back to the keeper. Yeah. Keeper's there, doesn't know what to do with it, puts it to the centre-back 3 yards away. They're trying to play out from the back here. And again, you're Norwich City lads, you're bottom of the table. What are you doing? Yeah, West Ham easily win the ball back. Ball threaded through, must score. Oh, how have you not scored, you absolute muppet? Go to the spare room tonight, Jared, because do you know what? You've got the touch of an absolute sledgehammer tonight, son. You should have scored there. I mean, we did everything right there.
I've lost it. My stream's gone down. What a time to go down. Bowen's hit the bar. I've just caught the end of it, I think, there. Talk us through it, Pinky, for the benefit.
A lovely move by West Ham United. Absolutely superb. We've cut Norwich to shreds there. Bowen, he's clean through. Keeper goes down. He goes to do a little bit of a chip over him, just over hits it off the bar, and still 1-0 West Ham. But, this could be 4 or 5 to West Ham. And the more this stays at 1, the more you fear for a mugging in the 94th minute. We need a second goal. Norwich currently in possession, playing the ball forward, and just go to route 1. And in the end, it's the route to nowhere. Diop tidies up comfortably, plays the ball forward to Declan Rice. Declan just moves the ball on to Manuel Lanzini, back to Rice, back to Soufal. Soufal in possession, plays the ball forward to Rice. Acres of space on the right. I mean, Rice is just strolling around the pitch this evening, to the extent of, his shirt wouldn't have a grain of sweat on it. It's a really comfortable night for Rice in the middle. Norwich in the minute they have the ball, but they're going nowhere with it. Just playing little passes, but not doing anything in particular that's going to cause us any harm. West Ham, good solid banks there. Come and break us down, lads. Well, you can't because you're not good enough. So the ball's getting forced backwards and backwards and backwards. And the ball now in Norwich, and they're just going backwards. They're heading towards their own penalty area and forces them to go long. And by forcing them to go long, they just surrender possession.
Oh, dear.
Absolutely.
That kind of play. Oh, I mean, that almost reminds me of Southampton all those years ago, playing 40 passes along the back line and then humping it forward and losing possession. But this is really what you were talking about in the first half, isn't it? You were asking Norwich to, or suggesting we give them a little bit more of the ball to create the space behind. And we've just seen perfect example of that with that Bowen opportunity. West Ham managing to do what West Ham do so well and break swiftly and quickly on the counter. And Bowen really, Pinky, should be celebrating his hat-trick by now.
Oh, as a minimum. as a minimum. You know,
Well, could have had 4 with the disallowed goal as well.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the first one in the second minute as well. He had that great chance.
Yeah, he really should have had 3, 4, even 5 goals this evening. It could have been Brian Deere all over again. And if you're watching Brian, good evening to you. But he could have had an absolute shed load of goals this evening. And that really just illustrates how poor this Norwich City team are, because genuinely we look like scoring almost every time we go forward. Not in a sort of ooh ah kind of way, but we look positive, we look professional. We're passing the ball, I think, with some purpose. We're keeping our shape pretty well as a team. Cresswell on the ball currently plays the ball. Now it's a long ball, but you can see what he was trying to do there. He was trying to get the ball in behind for Antonio to chase down the channel. So it was a ball with some purpose. Antonio, went down. Norwich get the game going again, and again they're playing the ball backwards. It's now with the keeper. He'll go long. The net result of this, we'll win possession, and we do. West Ham on the ball, and again move it forward very quickly. West Ham now wide right, Bowen on the ball. Gets the shot off. And I think it's put behind for a corner kick. So West Ham again. I think this is our 9th corner coming up, 9th or 10th corner, and I think Norwich have had 2 corner kicks. So actually,
I think it's actually grazed the post, isn't it? That
it has. Yeah. So Bowen puts the ball down in the triangle. Yeah. Antonio just comparing notes with the referee on who builds a better snowman and all the rest of it. Good lad. But come on, I feel another goal coming here now. I feel a goal coming here.
Interesting tactical choice there. We've got, is that Lanzini who's right by the ball? Anyway, it's delivered in. Diop again. Looks like he's dived to the floors. Come out to Cresswell. And that might be another corner for West Ham on the other side this time. Williams come off that time. Antonio's chuckling about something, not quite sure what that is. Oh, sorry, it's my dodgy stream. I do apologise. It's Antonio, not Diop, who went to the deck rather too easily, I feel. But West Ham have another corner anyway. We'll see what happens. I assume this is Cresswell. I can't quite tell from my dodgy stream. Delivers it to the near post. Looks for the flick on. Doesn't happen. Sorry, it was Fornals who took the corner, I think. But Fornals back in possession. Wins a throw-in for West Ham just to the left of Norwich's penalty box. Aaron's with the block. Norwich, some desperate defending right now, just after an hour gone, 62 minutes. West Ham leading 1-0, looking to score what would be a very, very important second goal right now. Ball back with Issa Diop, plays it to Dawson on the halfway line. Dawson looks to play that diagonal. So beloved of the aforementioned Ginger Pele back in the day. It's fallen to Vlasic. It's a poor ball into Antonio. Norwich are allowed to break. Norwich a little more or a little less reticent to sit back, Pinky, this afternoon, and looking to, at least they're trying to do something. I mean, they haven't really looked like threatening much, but they're not sitting as deep as they were in the first half anyway.
Well, no,
most
it's
of the time.
The point I made at half time. They're just sliding aimlessly into the Championship, and Dean Smith had to get hold of his players and say, which division do you really want to play in, lads? Do you want to be playing at Anfield and the London Stadium and Old Trafford, or do you want to be playing at dare I say it, Bramall Lane or wherever? It's up to the players. The manager can't win the game for them. Rice on the ball in the box now, plays it square. Lanzini on the ball, twists and turns, very clever. Lanzini, I've got to say, has been very good this evening. Very good again this evening, should I say. Norwich now pouring forward, which is what we were sort of almost encouraging them to do. Diop having to do some defending now. And let's see, can he actually stop this ball coming in? Yeah, forces the ball back. Right, regather your shape now, Diop. Remember where you're supposed to be, son. Norwich, though, in possession in the West Ham half. Ball played forward out to the right flank. Norwich is there. Skins his man a bit too easy. Manages to work a position at the box, but luckily the ball's come out of the box again. And a good challenge there by Bowen again. Who else? He shoots, he scores, he makes tackles, he wins possession. Is there no limit to that man's capabilities? But Norwich, once again, picked the loose ball up. Oh, Declan Rice, I'm sorry, son, but you just stood there. You needed to have gone to that ball. You just let Manny Lanzini tidy that up. You should have gone and got that. And I think West Ham, very, very fortunate there. Got to say, the captain there, not doing quite enough for my money at that point in time. Norwich make their first sub of the evening, and off goes number 11, and on comes number 10. Dowell coming on. So, Norwich forced to make the first change. Let's see, what's that? About an hour gone, 65 minutes gone. Probably
65. Yep.
Probably pre-planned, I suspect. Fabianski just about to take the kick to get it forward. Up it goes. And again, it's a West Ham throw deep in the Norwich half. Cresswell.
Interestingly, sorry, Pinky, I was just going to say, Dan B's made an interesting point on the live chat. Says he believes they're targeting Antonio today, dragging him to the ground whenever possible. Have you spotted that?
Well, not as much as Dirty Leeds were at the weekend, that's for sure. You know, I mean, there was some outright, assaults going on Antonio at the weekend, but that goes with the territory. That's why you want a strong player in that position. That's why you need someone of a physique of an Antonio or an Arnautovic, because they get targeted. And if you can't stand up to that kind of physicality, then you're going to struggle. And I just wondered for our old friend Seb Haller, I suspect that was a part of the game he didn't really fancy, which is why this league was not for him. Go and earn your corner in the Dutch league, where no one's going to put a finger on you for 90 minutes. And suddenly everyone says, oh, look at the goals he scored. Yeah, because no one goes near him. In this league, you're going to get roughed up by defenders. That's the job.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, he's done really well, hasn't he, since he went out. Just going to mention, I don't know if you saw the post. Just seen a great effort from Norwich. Has that come back off the post?
Yeah, it has. I think he had Fabianski, I think. And this was my point about 1-0 being a dangerous scoreline. Bowen dispossessed. Little bit of magic feet from the Norwich lad. Pulls the trigger. Actually, I think it might have been Fabianski makes the save.
Yeah, it does. It's a fantastic save from Fabianski. I think he actually pushes it onto the post, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a save. That's a save of the season, that one.
Strong hands. I mean, nothing to do all night, then suddenly you've got to be at your absolute best. And well played, Fabianski.
It was a fabulous effort by the Norwich number 35, who is I'm just trying to find out who is Ida. Cut inside, really good footwork, jinked inside, but just came out of nowhere and unleashed a fantastic strike that was goal bound. And Fabianski leapt to his right hand side and just managed to get a really vital hand on it, pushed it onto the post. And fortunately for West Ham, it came out. But it emphasises the point that you've been making all evening, Pinky, that one goal advantage. I mean, we jokingly say that for West Ham 3-0 is the dodgiest score in football. Yes. But the point you've been making, that 1-0 still to play for, just takes one little bit of luck, one good chance, and we nearly saw it there. Very close, very close.
I said quarter of an hour ago, 20 minutes ago, just a lazy swing of the leg. You get lucky, it connects, and suddenly, from being comfortable hold of 3 points, you drop 2. And how sick would you be come the end of May when the prizes get handed out if you miss out on that potential 60 or 70 million pound transfer kitty bonus? That is what you get when you qualify for the Champions League. And it's a real issue for us now, this 1-0, because you'd hate to drop points against this Norwich team. They've not been very good.
Gosh.
They're better in the second half than they were. They are getting the ball a bit more, which is what we're calling to do.
Yep.
Nice attempt to flick through, well cut out by Diop there. Ball back in West Ham possession. Fornall's carrying the ball forward. Yeah. Now Bowen on the ball. What's he going to do with it? Plays the ball back to Lanzini. Lanzini plays a square to Declan Rice. Rice moves the ball on down the left flank. Aaron Cresswell, good cross in. Oh, and again it was Bowen, I think, trying to get in on the end of that, and it just went over his head. And player coming in behind him had a bit of a swing, but nowhere near on target. So again, good ball in by Cresswell. I mean, a cross exactly where you wanted it to be, but Jared Bowen just couldn't quite get on the end of it. But a little bit better there from West Ham all of a sudden.
Yeah, I think, you know, the longer the game goes on, we're just seeing a replay of that shot again. We're going to get that's an incredible save by Fab. What a save that is, Fabianski. 37 years old, just pulled that. That's a top draw save. That's, you know, world class. You've got to say, ensures West Ham stay ahead. But anyway, Norwich attacking against Pookie down the right hand side, up against Dawson, plays it short. This is a really good chance. Again, it's that man Ida again. But he's been forced to turn back this time. Ball's played out to him on the left-hand side. He puts a lazy delivery in, and it's a bit of a half-hearted effort, and West Ham managed to clear their lines eventually. But Hammer's under a little bit of pressure now, Pink. You're going to have to be careful. Just wanted to come back quickly. You mentioned Ajax there. I don't know if anyone saw the post I put on the forum earlier in the week, but quite ridiculous statistics in terms of goal difference. Come back to that in a moment, because Norwich are making... is this a double substitution? It's Hanley and Solis, the young Greek player going on, I think, by the looks of it. Is that two coming off? Rashika's coming off for Solis. And is there another change coming on? Is Hanley coming on as well? Not sure he is. Looks like it's just the one for now. Ajax, incredible. Second in the Eredivisie at the moment. But their goal difference, they're plus 52. They've scored 56 goals after 18 or 19 matches. They've only conceded 4 goals all season. Absolutely incredible. And I mean, you will remember, of course, Pinky, like me, that Liverpool, the great Liverpool team of the late 70s, early 80s that won the old 42-game Division 1, conceding, I think it was 12 goals they conceded one season. Ajax, it's incredible, isn't it? Only 4 goals conceded after 19 games. Unbelievable.
It's decent, you know, but as ever, factor in the quality of the opposition, and this is why, you know, when we look for players from overseas leagues, you know, you've got to gauge what are they really playing in week after week, and Ajax, they've done a great job in recent years of selling a number of players for absolute top dollar, which funds, of course, their football club. But not many of those players have been standout performers in the clubs they've gone to. You know, so you'd have to say Ajax have been very clever in making the product look spectacularly good. You know, when you come to our market stall, look at all this wonderful fruit and veg we've got. And then people buy it, they take it back home and go, well, actually, it tastes a bit bland, really. Yes, I'm talking about you, Frankie de Jong. Yes. Who hasn't justified your fee at Barcelona. Yeah. And, you know, players like that, you know, and I think Ajax have a long history of it. And, of course, you get away with it because when you actually knocked out Johan Cruyff, that's the player the world remembers Ajax for. And, you know, but yeah, they score a lot of goals. They don't let many in. But would they do that in the Premier League week in, week out?
No, of course not. It's a good point. I just thought it was an interesting stat. It must be a very, very rare thing in any league at any level to concede so few goals, or at the highest level anyway, professional level.
But I suspect if we looked at the possession stats that Ajax enjoy in their league,
yes,
you know, it's the opposition probably don't see the ball, you know, for most of the game. It's you know, and their matches end up as glorified training sessions. You know,
I think they'd won 4-1 and 5-1 the couple of games before that, and then they'd drawn 2 0-0s, which meant they were off the top. But unbelievable stat and of course the point being that they're not top of the table at the moment. But anyway, let's come back to this game. We're in the 75th minute. Norwich looking a little bit lively. They decided to have a go at West Ham, causing West Ham a few problems. Shot a few minutes ago from Williams that was high and wide, just after actually Craig Dawson performed a really, really good tackle inside the penalty box. Stood up strong when Norwich were looking to counter. made a tackle. David Moyes looks a little bit perturbed on the sidelines. I think he's calling for a sub now with 15 minutes left to go. Whoever, we can't see who he's conversing with, but he's telling them to get their finger out, I think is the message that I got from that one. So it looks like a substitution for West Ham is imminent as my stream decides to go off air momentarily. So I'll hand you over to Pinky, who can hopefully tell us a bit more about it.
Okay, well, on Rowers coming on, that's Dean Smith now played all his cards this evening, and again that's a clear sign. He knows going down meekly 1-0 is a waste of time. He's got the message through to his players. Look, get a point, get anything, but just get a point. Don't care how. Chuck yourself to the floor and get a penalty, win a free kick on the edge of the box, anything. But do not go out meekly 1-0, because we've seen it ourselves, too many times, sliding into the Championship with nothing performances time after time, and the players not realising really where they are till it's too late. I just think half this Norwich squad, I just think half of them don't believe they're Premier League players, and if you don't believe you are, you never will be, I'm afraid. And because there are good players in the Championship. Gerard Bowen, who's shone tonight, we pick him up from Hull City. There you go. All you got to do is go and find another 8 or 9 of those, and you've got a fantastic. Yeah, but they're there. They're there, Graham. They are there.
Are they that many? Are they? I think there are good players there, but I'm not sure. I think Bowen has definitely matured, isn't he? I think he's not the player that we picked up. He's definitely come on, and you've got to credit David Moyes and his team for having the foresight to see that he had the potential to do that, but. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe they are. Maybe they are. It's just that they don't get the opportunity these days. And I think if they do, generally it's a Norwich or, it's a Burnley rather than, dare I say it, a West Ham or a team that's sort of ensconced in that sort of upper third of the Premier League.
Yeah. Nothing I hate more in relegation seasons is what I call the air of inevitability that descends over the team when there's just seasons when you just know this is it, lads. This is it. Yeah. Because it's just lack of application from players. It's lack of desire, lack of cohesiveness in the team. That they're the seasons when you get the players all whinging, oh, the manager hates me, he's not picking me, and all the rest of it. And I think there's been a touch of that in Norwich this year, whereby it's just not been a happy camp for whatever reason. And it's almost as if they gave up in August, just give up. And as a club, I totally respect what Delia Smith and her co-directors have done there. They're not going to bankrupt their club to stay in the Premier League. And they haven't got the money to fund it in the way that Newcastle United's owners can, but this is just heading to the Championship. We're on the ball now. Norwich tidying up in the box, goes out for a West Ham throw-in deep in the Norwich half. We've got 12, 13 minutes left on the clock. We need a second goal here, West Ham, and what better time than now? So
yes, right in the corner,
taken. And again, strange throw-in. Norwich pick the ball up.
Wasteful.
We commit the foul and we let him off the hook. And this is what I'm saying. We lack the finesse, the subtlety to ping 200 passes around the edge of the opposition's box till they finally crack. That's why we're so much better when we play on the break and they haven't got time to organise a defence. Norwich currently, though, coming forward, but a loose pass. Challenge there. Again, head the ball, no particular direction, but a Norwich player picks it up. Again, playing the ball forward now. Slightly forward, it's on the right flank. Again, sloppy pass. Declan Rice picks the ball up with ease, and he looks to play whatever pass he can.
Oh, great ball.
The man
great
out,
ball.
just picks the right player. Fornals on the ball. Yeah, lovely. You can see it coming a mile off.
Here we go. Come on, Arthur. Oh, he's done it again. Oh, Arthur. Oh, Pinky. What's he doing? He could have scored, actually. I mean, you can see what he's doing if you look at the replay. Krul's come off his line. There is an angle there, but it's Arthur, isn't it? Oh, Arthur.
Well,
Pinky's lost for words.
He does as he pleases, and what can you do with him? What can you do with him? You're Mickey Antonio there. You haven't got a defender within a yard of you. You're 5 yards out from goal. You're in the middle of the goal mouth. And oh dear, this looks painful. Bowen's gone down. He's clutching down by his right Achilles, down just below the soleus. So he's had a real clout there from somebody. What's going on? Oh, yeah, one of those nasty ones, a raking one down the back of the Achilles. That is painful. Anyone that's ever played football at any level, when you've had that done to you, you want the magic sponge on it rather quickly. Nasty.
Oh, that's naughty. That's not. Is it an Achilles or is he stood on his foot? I couldn't quite tell.
It looked like it was Achilles to me, but Anyway, Rice in possession, pouring forward. One of his trademark charges forward now.
Go on, son.
On the ball on the left flank, plays the ball back. Cresswell coming forward, plays it back to Rice. Work a nice little position there now. Fornals in a lot of space. Plays the ball in. Lovely football there from West Ham United. Again, not the best ball into the box by Cresswell. Norwich clear the ball, and it's a West Ham United throw just inside the Norwich half.
What's Cresswell claiming there, Pinky? The hands went up when that ball went in. Was it a handball, perhaps?
I think he was claiming that don't look at the rubbish pass I just put in. Try and get a bit of attention somewhere else.
I think you're probably right. Just going back very quickly to what we were saying about your claim, your suggestion about Championship players. Chris Merton pointing out that Aaron Cresswell, of course, came from Ipswich, and as we know, Mickey Antonio from Forest, and you could even say that Lucas Fabianski came from Swansea, who were a Championship side at the time. So yeah, I mean the quality is out there. That's a very valid point. 82 minutes gone. West Ham United 1, Norwich City 0. The Hammers backtracking at the moment. Issa Diop on the ball. He's going to play it all the way back to Lucas Fabianski, who gets a rare touch in this game, and Fabianski goes long, looking for Bowen. I think who does really well to hold the ball up, bring lands in space. He's dangerous from West Ham. Masuaku on the left-hand side. He's into the box. Can he pull it across? He does. Chance offside. He's going to be offside though, I think. Yeah. Better for it's Bowen again. Jared Bowen again. Could have had a hat trick, possibly 4, 2 offside. Unbelievable evening.
Yeah, absolutely. But I've got to say here, Arthur, why the extra touch, son? And should have played it first time. But there you go. All decision pending. So VAR, that's gone to VAR. So the lino flagged it, but it's with the.
Well, he's onside there. He's onside. If that's where they're making the decision, he's on. He's level with the defender, and that's going to be a reference, I think, to the camera at the side of the pitch.
There's also a Norwich defender who I think it might have scraped the bottom of his boot when it comes in. Look at the centre back here now. He sticks his leg out when the ball comes across.
I mean, at the first angle, he looked clearly offside, but when you look at the line, it's been given. Yeah. I think it's a goal. Has it been given?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a goal.
2-0 West Ham.
That's it. Should be game over. Well, VAR, it's given us one, and it giveth and it taketh away.
VAR. Always been a big fan of VAR.
Second revised VAR goal in our favour in a couple of weeks, and West Ham looking forward to 3 points finally. And also I should give credit to Arthur Masuaku there. I was critical of him for that choice a few moments earlier, but that's good. And I think it's actually an own goal, Pinky. I think that's why it stood. If you look at it again, I don't think Bowen puts it in the net. I think it's an own goal.
Yeah, I mean, having seen that replay, it looks very much like it. But Bowen will claim it. He'll claim it.
and rightly too. But surely that we can finally relax a little bit now. Surely 2 up, and Bowen, Bowen's
for
definitely
God's sake,
claiming it.
don't get a third West Ham. 2-0 is a good score for us. 3 is absolutely lethal.
We don't want another. We don't want another.
No. So, I mean, 2-0, regulation 2-0 win. We said it an hour ago. And that's what you've got to do to teams like Norwich. And it's not being rude or nasty about them, but they're where they are on the league table for a reason. Yeah. And what you mustn't do is let them off the hook. And West Ham United teams of old, this is exactly the sort of side that we'd let off the hook. Midweek game, no one really wants to be there tonight. There's a couple of good films on telly later. The players will be through the showers quickly tonight. Sexy Beast is on film 4 tonight.
What a film!
You don't want to miss that. So it's got that sort of feel about it. But you've got to put this caliber of opposition to bed.
Oh,
you really have. Cresswell did very well there. And again, come on, get it in.
Come on. Oh, it must be. Get in. Get off the bar. I think it's hit the woodwork again.
We don't want
unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not kidding. That is the classic would have gone in off Matoja. I mean, no word of a lie. It was harder not to score.
Oh, I don't know where you start with that one. It's Norwich in complete disarray at the back. Cresswell completely muffs his shot, which falls enticingly for Antonio 4 yards from goal. He tries to wait for Kroll to commit. Kroll somehow gets a foot on it. It loops up, drops on the crossbar, and it's.
Look who was there. Look who was there, ready to head the ball in the net. Had it not just gone over the other side of the crossbar, Jared Bowen in exactly the right position. So someone's clearly got a hold of him and said, "You want to get some goals, son? You need to be taking up these positions. Just hang around those areas, and funnily enough, the ball will come to you." Oh, bit of bad news. Andrea Yarmolenko's coming on again. Very sporting from David Moyes. But let's wait until the corner kick is taken. Bowen again on the ball. What are they going to do?
I don't know, but David O'Rourke agrees, said it should have been a corner at least. It was a save by Kroll. I'm quite astonished that wasn't given a corner in those circumstances. But is it Mickey Antonio coming off? It is Mikhail Antonio. Just mere moments after he muffed that chance, really, you've got to say, it looked easier to score, being replaced by the effervescent, the bubbly, the always energetic Andrei Yarmolenko for his customary 2 minutes on the pitch. As Pinky says, West Ham have a corner. It's delivered to the near post, nodded out by Norwich, who look to break, but Declan Rice is going to stop them from doing so, and Norwich pretty much tackle themselves, and the ball falls to Rice, and West Ham retain possession. Yes, Yarmolenko. Doesn't look like he's going anywhere this January, Pinky. We kind of hope that he might find a suitor.
Just looking at his shirt number, and it appears to be 800. 000, and then underneath ONO, whatever that means. Yeah, I mean, it's a unique shirt number. I've never seen a shirt number like that, but it's very much a case of 2 minutes to remind other clubs that there is a player with 6 months left on his contract who might offer you something if you're looking for a goal or two.
Yeah. In Division 3,
obviously, we won't tell them at which end of the pitch those goals will come, but because we're selling, but. But he's a player that's getting towards the twilight of his career, and he's not getting a lot of pitch time at West Ham. I think whatever sort of bid we get, I think we'd do the honourable thing, let him go to a club where he'll get a few more minutes of playing time, because they all want to play, and Yarmolenko isn't going to get much game time at West Ham. So
no, for sure, as we've seen already this season, but. Coming back to the game, I mean, Norwich have gone now, aren't they? It's just a question now, really, as West Ham play out the final few minutes of whether we do manage to add another one to the score, or it remains at 2-0. Norwich have essentially given up. West Ham pushing forward, ball on the right, played inside. Clever Yarmolenko, great stuff, great save from Kroll. shot on his right from his right boot,
Yeah.
and who would have been expecting
Yeah,
that?
well, I've just adjusted my screen. I thought that it was a technical fault.
Got it the wrong way round.
Yes, but he pulled the trigger there with his right foot and a powerful shot.
Yeah.
So, Andrea,
Indeed.
why haven't you done that for the last 3 seasons? Because, do you know what? You do that, you catch everyone by surprise.
Might have done us a favour if that had gone in, actually, because it might have had a club or two look at it and think, well, maybe there is a player in there after all. But
Absolutely.
Anyway, Kroll denies him, and it remains 2-0 to West Ham. Have you seen any indication? My stream's decided to start flapping again. Any indication yet of how long we've got added on?
3 minutes.
3. It's a 3.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Norwich
Good
coming
stuff.
forward now. West Ham jogging back. I mean, again, Norwich run harder. You're not going to get anything. I'm looking at this
Norwich
now.
on the left.
It's important though that we try and keep a clean sheet.
Oh, for sure.
I'm a huge fan of clean sheets. It just builds confidence throughout the team, and opposition players, they always look at everyone else's scores and all the rest of it. And if you can put in the opposition's minds, well, West Ham, it's not easy to score against them, then that's half the job. Unfortunately, what we've put in the opposition's minds is West Ham. It is easy to score against them. And, I wouldn't actually put a single penny on us actually seeing this finish with a clean sheet for us. And with less than 2 minutes to go, that's quite a damning thing to be saying.
Well, I mean, interestingly, that clean sheet in our last game against Leeds was only our second since the goalless draw with Man City in the Carabao Cup, which we won on penalties. The other one, of course, being the goalless draw at Burnley before Christmas. But what a touch! Did you just see that? I don't know if you saw it a few seconds ago. The pass by Declan Rice, where he brought it down out of the air and just played it to his left to Yarmolenko. Absolutely superb. Real touch of class. That we're seeing from our skipper. He's on the ball again now.
He's a good player.
Yeah, for sure.
Very much so. But talking of good players, I better not mention Arthur Masuaku because he isn't.
But I was just going to say, what a cameo he's had, though. He's been everywhere, involved in everything since he came on the pitch. I mean, he's only been on. When did he come on? 78th minute. He's been everywhere the last 14 minutes. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and again, you're playing Norwich City. When you come on, you're a goal to the good. Your team's not having to do an awful lot of defending. It's exactly the sort of game where you will bring him on. Yeah, you can afford to take the chance. At 0-0 against slightly better opposition, Moise putting him on. It's that simple because you just know he's a player that he could do something positive for you.
Yeah,
but he's just as likely to do something that'll hurt the team. The same goes for Yarmolenko, and your managers first and foremost are risk averse. They'll. It's not always about the players that can do things for them. They worry about the players that might drop the ball, and those two certainly fall into that category. Anyway, the full-time whistle's just gone here at the London Stadium. Fairly comprehensive and straightforward win for West Ham, 2-0 against Norwich City. Jared Bowen, undoubtedly the star of the show this evening, could have had 4, 5, 6, name it, name whatever you want. Ended up with 2 goals. And a very comfortable win by West Ham tonight. I mean, there's no other word for it. It's straightforward. They'll be through the showers in 10 minutes. Quick glug of Lucozade, in the cab going home. Big pizza from Domino's in front of Sexy Beast by 11 o'clock. Job done.
Great stuff. As Piggy said, it has finished 2-0 to West Ham. Very similar game in a sense to that against Leeds last weekend. We've just seen poor Delia in the stands there. She's going to have to make her way back to Norfolk and with another defeat to think about as she leaves the stadium. But yes, a goal either side of the half-time interval for West Ham gives the Hammers the points and moves us back into the top 4, back above Arsenal, most importantly. Having a quick look at some of the key points in the game. Jared Bowen, star of the evening, according to Pinky. Had a glorious chance inside 2 minutes to put West Ham one up, but fired straight at Kroll. Diop and Lanzini opportunities after that, before West Ham did eventually have the ball in the net on the 36th minute. It was Jared Bowen, of course, who else, straight from a corner, but Niko Vlasic adjudged to be offside, probably correctly so in the circumstances, and the goal was ruled out, so it remained goalless. Norwich found pretty much their only shot of the half shortly after that, but with 3 minutes of the half remaining, Jared Bowen did eventually give West Ham the lead. It was a good surge down the left by Aaron Cresswell, set free by a delicious ball behind, diagonal pass behind the defence from Declan Rice. Cresswell's shot cross was a little bit too deep, but picked up by the other returning fullback, Vladimir Soufal on the far side, who centred for Jared Bowen, who finished with a little glancing header into the corner to put West Ham one up at the break. Second half, Norwich came out a little bit more attacking, looking initially dangerous. And they did have, of course, that one fabulous chance in the 67th minute out of nothing. West Ham had pretty much dominated possession at that point. Jared Bowen, 57th minute, clean through on goal, tried to dink one over Kroll and hit the crossbar and over. Just after that, he had a shot which grazed the post and was deflected out for a corner. But Lucas Fabianski, you could argue to some degree, probably saved West Ham at that point. It was Ida who cut inside from the left-hand side and fired a shot that was destined for the left-hand corner, and Fabianski had absolutely nothing to do throughout the game. Moved across to his left and got a fantastic touch on it to push the ball against the post and keep West Ham ahead at that point. Bit of a wake-up call, really, for the Hammers, who never really looked back, to be fair. After that moment, there was an opportunity for Norwich shortly after that didn't really threaten. A flurry of substitutions followed. And then West Ham, of course, did indeed have the ball in the net for a second time, just after, in fact, we'd hit the bar again. No, it wasn't. Got that wrong. Actually, we had the ball in there before we hit the bar. Antonio did hit the bar shortly after we'd scored. But Arthur Masuaku, who, as we were saying, was absolutely everywhere in that brief cameo, came on the 78th minute, involved in a lot of things, had that glorious chance to score, which he put wide of the post just before he created the second goal for West Ham. Masuaku's low cross found Bowen, and the ball was turned into the net. Initially ruled out for offside, but we believe, we'll have to have a look at another replay, but it did look like the replay suggested it was an own goal. The Norwich defender flying backwards to try and avert the centre, looked to get the touch at the same time of Bowen, and probably an own goal, though I suspect, as Pinky said, Bowen would claim it. That was 2-0 to West Ham. Antonio, as I said, got it wrong a few moments ago, had a chance to kill off Norwich with a third on the 87th minute, but the ball somehow looping up onto the crossbar with Antonio no more than 6 yards away from goal. That was it. Andrei Yarmolenko on after 88 minutes had the opportunity. Right-footed shot. First time we've probably ever seen that. Stung Kroll's hands, but that was it. And West Ham, after 3 minutes of added on time, recorded a 2-0 victory and are back up to fourth place in the Premier League. Noam was at the stadium this evening at the London Olympic Stadium watching the action. He's joining us now. Noam, how you doing, buddy? You're already away. Good to see you've got away okay. What's your initial thoughts about what you've seen tonight?
I'm annoyed we didn't get the third. That would have been 90 quid for me. But really, finishing, we've got to, finishing had been half as good as it has been in the past. That would have been a cricket score. Guilty of trying to walk it into the net a couple of times. Final ball into the box a couple of times lacking. We'll have a year off from playing them next season anyway.
A decent win. I mean, again, VAR intervened at the end there, Noam, and it was kind of, as I said at the time, VAR giveth and taketh away. It awarded us one in the second half, having ruled one out in the first half. Did you manage to see that at all from where you were? Because it looked to myself and Pinky that it might have been an own goal rather than the Bowen strike, that second one.
Yeah, I mean, when they showed, they actually put up the grid lines on the screen, which we didn't get a good sort of 5-minute look at it, but the fact they put the grid line up suggests that the most forward part of Bowen was presumably onside. So irrespective of who got the touch, I think they decided he was onside. They wouldn't have shown the grid lines otherwise if it had just been an own goal. Although I suppose again we might have had a similar situation. The fact that Bowen was there, might have been deemed to be sufficient interference with play.
Yeah, I mean, it did. Yeah. I don't know what your angle was like, but it looked to all intents and purposes live from the angle on the TV that it was clearly offside. But of course, as VAR revealed shortly afterwards, he was bang in line with the defender when the ball came across.
Yeah, I mean, if he was level with the defender, he's onside. And as I say, they did put up the grid lines. I didn't look at it for too long, but I'll have a look when I see the highlights later. But clearly, he was sufficiently onside for him to award the goal. So Sodom.
Indeed. Happy with what you've seen tonight? Did you get your money's worth?
2.5 cheers. I think it's a game where, Pinky mentioned earlier on when I was listening on the way in that it's going to be fine margins that qualify you for the Champions League this season, including goal difference. And really, the opportunities we created there, that was more than a 2-0. But again, I guess it's a measure of how far we've come that we're sort of moaning that we haven't got a hatful. Yeah, we've won a game, and I'm happy. Yeah, obviously good result. But could have been better. But can't complain. Not complaining at all.
Can't complain. Pinky,
other than the 90 quid that I didn't win. Other than the 90 quid,
well, funny enough,
complained about that.
Well, if we'd have known, it might have been a different story here on the stream, because both Pinky and I were absolutely urging West Ham not to score a third goal, because, of course, it's not been our favourite scoreline in recent months. So apologies for that if we had any part to play in the gods not securing a third goal. But let me go to Pinky now. Your post-match thoughts on that, Pinky. West Ham United 2, Norwich City 0. On paper it looked like a fairly easy game. That's pretty much how it turned out. Norwich 1 or 2 scares, but didn't really threaten, did they, overall?
No, they didn't. But let's be honest here. This is exactly the sort of game where in years gone by we wouldn't have had quite enough about us to go on to win it. We'd have just meekly had a 0-0 at home. There'd have been boos ringing around the ground, and the following morning, no one can remember a thing about the match. So the difference is made now having a manager say, go and win. And let's be clear about all this. We've scored 39 goals in the league this season.
Yes.
Yeah, we're banging them in at a rate very, very near to and that is what the teams that finish in the top 4 or 5 places do season after season. 21 games in, we are 6 points behind Chelsea. Yeah. And if you'd said to pretty much any West Ham United fan, there'll be a gap of only 6 points between us and Chelsea after 21 games. They'd have said, don't think so, son. So we are doing okay. Yeah, Man City, they're over the hills and far away. Yeah. But this talk that it's just about the battle for 4th spot. Well, actually, I think there's probably 6 teams battling for anywhere from 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That sort of area. I think there's runners-up spots up for grabs. I think the 3rd spot's up for grabs. The African Cup of Nations. Liverpool have lost quite a bit of firepower to that competition. So they might drop points over the next month. Chelsea, they're missing their fullbacks big time. They really are. And they've got their issues. So, without getting too carried away, again, if I was David Moyes, I'd be ramming the pressure, the point home. Who says we're fighting for 4th? It might be 3rd, it might be 2nd. Yeah. finish as high as we can. So for me tonight, a good win, a really comfortable win. We dominated the game from first minute to last. We played all the football. Yes, Fabianski had to pull off a world-class save, but he did. So thanks very much. Well done, Lucas. You've done your job. Yeah. Norwich, I'm afraid, they're going to the Championship. They know it. And just, the thing that could distort the table more than anything is let's just see who Norwich have got to play in the last 8 or 9 matches, because they are going to concede hatfuls of goals to some teams. Yeah. They really are.
No question. I'm glad you mentioned the Fabianski save, because I wanted to bring Noam in on that one and just ask exactly how good it looked inside the stadium. I mean, I don't know if you managed to see a replay of that, Noam, on the screen, but it was an incredible save by Fabianski. It pretty cold because he hadn't had anything to do up until that moment in the entire game. Pulls off a stunning save like that. And in the end, it proved to be, very important, because if that goes in, it's 1-1. And, when was it? 67 minutes. So, not a lot of time left after.
Yeah, I saw it. I mean, when he saved it in real time, I was off my feet at how good it was. And, the replay just made it look better. Fine save. So out of keeping with the rest of the game, wasn't it? It was like it'd been transplanted in from another match completely, edited in. But, it's, excuse me. We kind of can't expect it from him, I suppose. Fantastic save. I did wonder if Bone got fouled in the build up to that, but I haven't seen a replay of the challenge where he lost the ball.
Okay. I didn't spot anything. I don't know if Pinky did, but
I may be wrong. Just it looked like he had been, but it was the other side of the pitch. So
okay, good stuff. What's the atmosphere like down there at the stadium? Everyone sounds in quite jolly mood. Lots of cheering and around you, known by the sounds of it.
Yeah, people are walking home happy. 3 points, 4th place. What's to moan about?
Could be worse. Could be worse, couldn't it? We've had worse seasons.
Could be a bit warmer,
as they say.
Could be a bit warmer, but I would like to say that this is the lucky hoodie that I've got here.
Okay.
I wore it.
Oh, there they go. There they go.
There we go. Yeah. We've won every game I've worn this hoodie to, so I'll keep wearing it.
We're getting the echoes of the tunnel there. I'm just going to pop you on mute for a second, as I go to Pinky, because of all those noisy beggars in the background, happy and no doubt they should be after the position West Ham are in at the moment. Man of the match, Pinky. Is this even a question tonight?
No.
Okay, moving swiftly on.
Yeah, I mean, it's Bowen, and not so much for the chances he missed.
Yeah.
For me, it was the fact that he's getting into the right positions where he could score a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, someone's had a word. Someone said, look, get in there, be there. And, the ball will come to you and you will get a chance. He's taken it on board, and he's put himself in the right position all night tonight. And if he does that week in, week out, he's a player you could bank on for 10 or 12 goals over the course of a season. Not difficult to see where the likes of Liverpool are sniffing around him, that's for sure. Outstanding from him tonight. The most heartening thing tonight for me, though, is to see Aaron Cresswell back in a West Ham shirt. I thought that was really good news for us, because if you look at it now, 4th in the table, positive goal difference of 12, and we've still got that positive goal difference of 12, despite having most of our back line out for about 5 weeks.
Yep.
Cresswell's back tonight. Zuma will be back for the Manchester United game. Okay, so you're then into the realms of Soufal, Zuma, Cresswell, Fabianski behind them. Dawson looks a better player alongside Zuma than he does alongside Diop. Yeah. So you're then starting to look like a defence that's been shored up again.
Yeah.
And, we go again. We go again, dare I say it. Cresswell was like a new signing tonight.
I get the feeling. No, let me come to you first. I mean, I'm presuming you're going to be with Pinky on this one in terms of man of the match, Bowen, for you as well.
I'm going to actually issue a slightly dissenting view here. I'd give it a Rice.
Oh, okay.
Head and shoulders the best player on the pitch. I thought simple as. Some of the passing that he put in, some of the passing that he put in was just superb.
Okay. I mean, I've got to say, I think Cresswell's influence tonight was considerable. I thought he made a real difference, and I think in any normal game, and by normal I mean when we haven't got the quite incredible Declan Rice playing and Jarrod Bowen playing one of the games of his life, I think he would have been a really good shout for man of the match tonight. It's got you've got to go for Bowen, haven't you? Really, he's had a fantastic night. He's had the ball in the back of the net 4 times. Could have had 2 or 3 more. Really, it was that sort of game. Pinky, you mentioned Brian Deere. It could almost have been a Jeff Hurst against Sunderland. To be fair, it was a ridiculous game for Bowen. The chances that fell to him, but. I'd also like to give a little shout to Arthur Masuaku. Amazing 15-minute cameo. Mr. Naps did completely the wrong thing. Tried to emulate his goal against Tottenham, and then laid on a second goal, got an assist. So just for comedy value, I think I'll give Masuaku a shout in that. Let's come to a couple of our players that have been the subject of much debate. One especially on here. We'll start with him. Issa Diop tonight. Pinky, I'm going to come to you because you're one of his more outspoken critics. Is it the sort of game that you can really make a decision on his ability, and how did you think he played tonight?
No. I mean, you wouldn't judge any defender's capabilities when playing against, such limited opposition as Norwich. Clearly, in the opening minutes, between him and Dawson, they made a hash of one or two things. They were like total strangers.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of it. It's mainly around decision making. I think he has a propensity to go walkabout. I think he lacks proper physicality for a player of his size. I don't think his positional play is particularly great. He's got too many parts of his game that he would need to improve upon to be a regular starter, in my view, in the top half of the Premier League. Part of it is we overpaid, we gambled, which is what you've got to do sometimes. You've got to do it. And defenders that can play in the left side of a centre-back partnership are a rarity. So sometimes you've got to take a bit of a punt to see can he or can't he. Unfortunately, I don't think Issa is going to make it. That's just my view.
All right.
But he's young enough to come back and haunt me. He's exactly the age profile where he can move on from West Ham to another Premier League club and have 8 or 9 spectacularly good years.
Yeah,
it's a fine line.
Good stuff.
For my money, not for me. No.
Yep. Okay, Noam, Issa Diop tonight had a fairly comfortable evening, didn't he? Did pretty much what he had to do. There was one point Pinky pointed out. I think it was the first half, 35 passes, 33 successful passes. Of course, we don't know whether they were 1-yard passes or 40-yard passes, but there was a few times in the second half where he, made good contact, found players in different positions. What was your overall assessment of his performance tonight?
Yeah, largely unemployed, wasn't it? Sorry, don't hear that. Largely unemployed, I thought. Really,
that's better.
Mopping up at the back, then got the ball, just laid it off to someone better. That's all he could do.
Yeah.
Really. That's all he had to do. Did it well enough. Really. Yeah, there's a couple of iffy moments with Dawson early on, but no, you can't really sort of judge anybody. It's Norwich, really.
Okay.
Yeah, they really work.
That said, I am going to ask you to judge at least one other player tonight that, again, has sort of been the subject of, much debate in the last few months, and that's Nico Vlasic. £30 million signing in the last transfer window, came in on the final day or the final week of August. The summer transfer window hasn't really, set the place alight. Chances have been limited, but he's got a real opportunity to sign now with Said Benrahma away on international duty for the next few weeks, potentially. Had a really good game against Leeds, didn't he? Was many people's man of the match. What did you make of him tonight?
Good in parts. Went down again, I think one occasion against Leeds and a couple of occasions tonight. Went down a little bit too easily for my liking. No, have a word with him, will you? But worked hard though. A lot of running back, a lot of backtracking to win the ball back. Just beginning to show signs, a little bit like Cornell. Took a while to bed in, didn't he? But when he did,
yes,
similar sort of situation.
Okay, they're off again. The happy hammers are off again. Pinky, Nico Vlasic, good performance. We were a little bit critical of his ability to stay on his feet, weren't we, in the first half?
Yeah, and the dying swan impersonation that he did, he should be embarrassed. Again, Moyes should put him in the middle of the pitch at Rush Green tomorrow. Get all the other players to stand round him for a full minute and just laugh at him and say, "Not here, please." We don't do that at West Ham because it's got no class. There's no class about winning penalties, doing that sort of thing. But what I would say, and this is the other side of the coin, there is a place for a player who can get his body position in the right area so the other player fouls him to win lots of cheap free kicks in the opposition's half. And Teddy Sheringham made a career out of that. He absolutely made a career out of winning cheap free kicks that then created opportunities, all legitimate. And that's intelligent play, whereas the just taking a dive is just outright cheating. So Vlasic has it within him, I think, to win lots of clever free kicks in the right part of the field. The other thing I think he does well, he's a very busy player. He looks to do things. He looks to get on the ball in the same way that Bowen does in many regards. If you feed the ball to Bowen, he will make something happen. I think Vlasic looks for it a bit more than Bowen, if I'm being honest. And I think he's also a player who isn't likely to create an error in our half of the field in the same way that another player who isn't top of my favourites list has a propensity to do. I don't think he's ever going to create quite as much as that player, but he won't be as big a risk to the overall team effort. So in tight games, it pays you money, it takes your choice. You stick one of them on, he might unlock the door. You stick the other one on, less likely to unlock the door, but less likely to give the keys to our kingdom away. So Vlasic, I like. He's growing on me. I think he's got a few weeks now where if he can start pretty much 4 or 5 games in a row, he won't be able to say, well, I was never given a chance. I think Moyes bought him for a reason. And, we do see this a year or so to settle in, get comfortable, get confident, start to believe that he actually belongs. And he could come good for us. So, quite happy with Vlasic. I think stick with him.
Okay, good stuff. Very positive reports there. Let's have a quick look at the stats for tonight because we haven't gone over those just yet. I'm hurrying to find them. Possession. West Ham 62% to Norwich's 38. West Ham 13 shots, 5 of which were on target. Only 7. I say only 7. I'm surprised to see 7 for Norwich, 3 of which were on target. West Ham 11 corners to Norwich's 2. West Ham committing 8 fouls to Norwich's 8. Noam, it's been a long time since we saw West Ham secure back-to-back clean sheets, but we've done it against Norwich and against Leeds. All right, you might say, they're not perhaps the best teams in the Premier League, but you've still got to do it. And, credit where it's due to Dawson and Diop, who are, after all, our backup centre halves. Do you think the return of Soufal and Cresswell helped there tonight?
Yeah, definitely added to the stability there. Soufal had a decent game as well. And again, very well, as Pinky said, very good to see Cresswell return. I don't know, you just feel a little bit more happier, confident with him in the team. So,
yeah.
I said at the time when he did that was a hell of a collision that he had. And, it didn't surprise me in the end when it took so long for him to recover. I was very surprised when they were saying, "Oh, he might be available weeks ago."
Yes.
So I mean, as I say, you've got, as Pinky rightly said, Dawson looks a better player alongside Zuma, and you wouldn't you? I mean, for all the joking about him not being people's favourite player, Diop does not inspire confidence, does he? And if he's not inspiring confidence in me and Pinky at the side watching, then clearly the same sort of thing that will tend to spread a little bit through the team. Same goes for goalkeepers. I just remember the worried looks when Roberto came on down at Bournemouth for his debut that time, and it's that sort of thing, you know. And if you've not got confidence in your central defensive partner, that's going to show in the way you play, the interplay between the two of you. Tonight did all right. Did exactly what was needed, really. But still a test will come. But yeah, let's face it, Leeds and Norwich are two of the games that in the past quite easily wouldn't have been clean sheets. And
no, that's true.
I think a clean sheet was slightly more deserved. Yeah, today than it was against Leeds, because Leeds had a couple of shocking misses, didn't they? At the weekend.
Yes, indeed. Pinky, we've been a little bit critical of this, too critical of Issa Diop and Craig Dawson. I mean, as we said, it's been a while since we've managed to keep clean sheets in the league, something that, Angelo Ogbonna and Kurt Zuma, to be fair, didn't get a great deal of. And when they were both playing together, should we perhaps be a little bit more lenient towards our current central defensive pairing?
No. Look. Why wouldn't you keep a clean sheet against Norwich with me and Nome in the back line?
Fair
Seriously.
Point. Can't argue with that.
Yeah. It's the fact that they don't look comfortable. The fact that they always look like they're going to give something away. It's Keystone Cops defending at times. And opponents smell that, they sense it, they then pressurize those areas. And, the pair of them tonight should have looked like a really comfortable, competent pairing that, they're never more than a couple of yards away from each other. They know what they're doing. There's no gaps opening up between them. But at the same time, they're very clear who's going to tidy up what. Yeah, who's doing what job. I don't get that sense for those two. I really don't.
Okay.
But equally, I don't pretend it's easy. If you went through the Premier League and said which manager is completely happy with both his first pair of centre backs and his second pair, and I doubt you'd get a single manager that say, "Yep, I'm happy with my starters and both my backups," and that would include Guardiola. So if the very richest clubs haven't got 4 top draw players, West Ham aren't going to. So Dawson and Diop, they've done okay tonight because they haven't conceded a goal. That's the harsh reality. Mm-hmm. But it's because of who we played, not how they played. That's also the harsh reality.
Fair enough. I guess we come back to the old adage about you can only beat what's in front of you. But it's good stuff. Anyway, good result for the Hammers. Just want to point out before we move on, and we're only going to have a couple more questions tonight because it is time is pushing on, and I'm wary of the fact that you guys have to get up early in the morning. there's going to be no Carabao Cup trophy for Tottenham this year because they were beaten 1-0 by Chelsea tonight, which means they went out 3-0 on aggregate. Chelsea moved on to the.
Oh, sorry. Can I just come in? I've got an exclusive then. The sun will rise tomorrow. Where was the news story in that?
It's a fair point. It's a fair point. Do you think we would have done a better job against Chelsea? Maybe put up a stiffer challenge?
Yeah, I think we would have done. I think we would have done. I think, and again, it's all about moments, isn't it? It's all about moments. And, that night we let it get away from us. And we haven't quite got that killer instinct in us, and all that squad depth to actually compete on all those fronts. Tottenham aren't all that. They're really not. Chelsea at the moment aren't all that. And that's why the point I was making about it isn't fourth spot that's up for grabs.
Yeah.
Second, third, and fourth. If we believe in ourselves, get more of the first 11 back on the pitch than we've had recently, and by that I mean Zuma back in the team, then we might just surprise ourselves.
Okay, good stuff. Moving on, I've just seen something come up on Twitter now. Sorry, no, go on.
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm on the tube now, which the signal's going to be cutting in and out. So I think it might be a good opportunity for me just to say to everyone at this point.
All right. Well, hang on for just a moment if you can, because I want you all to see this now. I'm wary of the fact that we might get told off for playing this, but I've got to show this. It's a few seconds of video from tonight's game, and I didn't spot this during the game, and I don't know if either of you guys did. No, perhaps you did, but let me see if I can share this now. Guys, tell me if now how do I do this? Let's see. Can I share? I'm not sure. Can I share? I can share a screen. Let me know. Please let me know if you can see this video still. Can you see that now on the screen? Or are you still looking at me? Can you see it?
Hang on.
Yeah.
Right. Watch this. Just watch this. Tim Kroll, watch this.
Change here for the district and for the line.
Okay, so what pretty much looks like what you might decree common assault. But I mean, I know we've criticised Nico Vlasic for diving Gnome during the game, but I mean that's a cast iron penalty, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Which just makes my not 3-0 even more annoying now. That's not
Pinky, how did we
owe me.
How did we miss that one, Pinky?
Yeah, and well, there's all sorts of things go inside the box that are fouls anywhere else on the field that never get penalised. It's the nature of the beast. But again, why do we enjoy our brand of football in this country as much as we do? It's the physicality. It's the fact that the rules are pushed to the absolute limit. The pace of the game. The whole thing about it in terms of you'll push your luck as far as you can. Yeah. And it really is barbaric stuff at times, English football. And that's why only certain types of player can actually make the grade here. And Ajax will concede 4 goals and score 56 in the course of the season so far. Yeah, I bet it's pretty boy stuff, but would it set your pulse rating? I'm not so sure. So I like all this nonsense. I like all the slide digs from the defenders into forwards. I like, back in the days of regular Shearer pushing out a bit of physical punishment. I don't mind keepers mixing it. Yeah, it's English football. That's why we enjoy it.
Great stuff. Well, there you go. We're going to wrap up pretty soon because, as I said, where the guys have got to get on and be up early in the morning. We've just about still got Noam with us. I think he might. Are you still with? Sorry, Noam, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm at Canning Town now. So basically,
Canning Town.
As soon as the train moves off, it's tunnel time.
All right. So it looks like we're about. Well, let me come to you first then. It's Leeds again this weekend. West Ham have already beaten Marcelo Bielsa's side in the last few days, quite comfortably, about as comfortably as it was tonight. How do you see this one going this week? And another 3 points for West Ham?
Yes. 2-0.
Another 2-0.
Yeah.
Another clean sheet, 3 clean sheets in a row.
Yeah, go for it. Why not?
Good stuff. Are you going to put money on that one?
Probably.
All right. Well, we can see you got to go. We'll bid you farewell. Thanks for popping
Cheers,
up, buddy.
mate.
Anyway, you take care. Have a safe journey home.
Take care,
Pinky,
everybody.
no. Cheers, buddy. Take care. Pinky, it's Leeds again this weekend as Gnome bids us farewell. Do we have anything to be worried about? I mean, there was a really good. There's the tunnel.
No, we don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah.
You know, we've discussed Marcelo Bielsa on a number of occasions.
Yeah.
And, a year ago, I made the comment, like, as a neutral, I'd go along to Leeds United if I was living in the north of England and say, I watch a team that's committed to all-out attack. But the problem, as we all know, is when you play like that, you do leave yourself open to the sucker punch time after time.
Yeah.
And once you stop winning, it's very, very difficult because it's actually then quite easy to lose if you get my drift. And they're at the wrong end of the table. They're there for a reason. Phillips is out, who is clearly a star player for them. Bamford's been out for a while. I don't think they've got anything to really hurt us. I think we will be much stronger this Sunday than we were last Sunday. I wouldn't be completely shocked to see Zuma appear.
Well, really, you think he's that close to a return?
I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah,
okay.
Might only be like a second half run out, so to speak. But I think as soon as he's anywhere near match fitness, I think the manager's going to get him on the pitch because David Moyes is a very, very experienced manager. He knows the job. He knows he's nursed the squad through a difficult period with a threadbare squad. If he can get them back on the pitch now, it just puts a little bit more power in the legs of every player who, when they suddenly start to see, well, we've stopped leaking goals, but we're still scoring 2 a game. The longer you stay in that top 4 or 5 positions, the more chance we've got of actually finishing in the money positions come the end of the season. And we all know it's not a trophy, finishing the top 4, but it does give you access to a huge pool of cash.
Yeah.
Which, can you imagine? There you go, Declan. We're in the Champions League. We've now got £120 million transfer kitty. So we're going to go and sign 3 really good players to play alongside you. But hang around for another season, sign a contract. It's an easier sales pitch than we finish 6th and you'll be playing minor teams in Austria and Belgium again. It's the difference. It's the difference. And if you want to hang on to your best players, you've got to play in the top competitions. It's that simple. So whilst 4th spot or 3rd spot isn't a trophy, it does allow you to build, gives the manager time, gives the club the money, and gives the players, the prestige of finishing high up the table. Let's not forget, for all the criticisms I'll make of the likes of Diop or whoever, if it's a Diop gets to the end of the season and said, I played half the games in a team that finished 4th in the Premier League, he could sit there and say, that pink idiot that's on KUMB TV doesn't know what he's talking about. Because the facts are, I played half the games and we finished 4th.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have a point.
Yep. Played in back-to-back clean sheets, of course.
Yeah.
In the last couple of games. Good stuff. Where are we going now? Let's have a quick look at Twitter. Couple of comments, and then I'll touch on some comments from the forums before we wrap up for the evening. Tony Cotty, famous former Hammer, says, a great result for the Hammers. Good to get 3 points and move on to the next game. Jared Bowen stepped up again and produced another man of the match performance. Our missing man tonight, Thomas Souček, was well enough to take to Twitter, at least we presume it's him and not someone writing on his behalf, to say it's great to watch this winning performance. Thumbs up, West Ham. XG stats, depending on where you go, you could have got West Ham at 2.39 to Norwich's 0.28, or elsewhere West Ham 2.55 to Norwich's 0.27. Such was West Ham's dominance in terms of chances created. And as we said, that's West Ham up to 4th in the table. Pinky, we're going to wrap up there. Final thoughts on what you've seen tonight?
Comfortable win, fairly straightforward. Great night for Bowen, because getting some goals that'll build his confidence and good for him. You can imagine why the young man would be low on confidence. Probably not that lucky in love, things like that at the minute. Yeah, right. No wonder he's scoring at the minute. He must feel about 10 foot tall. So, but
he's everywhere, that boy.
Indeed, he's had a terrific night. But Cresswell coming back from what could have been a very, very nasty injury for him, a chip bone in the back. Great to see him back in the field, and to win so comfortably and without Souček in the middle of the park. So again, depending on what's wrong with Thomas, we could be in a situation come the weekend where we have Zuma back, we have Souček back, we have Cresswell in the team. Yeah. And suddenly, we're a much, much stronger outfit against Leeds this coming week than we were at the weekend. So many, many positives tonight. Most of all, the fact that Norwich, who I think probably pulled a bit of a fast one getting the game called off, they haven't prospered. We've actually got the 3 points that we would have got had the game been played before Christmas. And for me, justice has been served. 3 points, another 2 positive on the goal difference, 4th in the table, players coming back from injury. And I think we will sign a top quality player in this window. I think we will.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Quick look at the 2 forums before we wrap up. Norwich, as you can understand, it's not a happy place to be if you're posting on the Pinkham as a Canaries fan tonight. Fuzar says it would be nice to have a player even half approaching Rice's ability. It's still the biggest, glaringly obvious miss in the team. Monty 13 says, I'm not super happy at another defeat, but given the personnel available and quality of opposition, that was a decent effort-filled performance. We were in that game until they scored their second goal. But for an outstanding save, could have been holding out for a point in the last 15 rather than chasing the game, which led to the second. Fair point. Can't really argue about that. Branston Pickle says there were some plus points, the things to build on, and we do still have 6 or 7 players out despite the insistence of some that we have a nearly fully fit squad to choose from. But it's looking like a long, hard second half of the season. And the Bristol Nest says we are a poor, poor team in this league. It's been a negative, mathematically incremental deterioration over the last 2 years. I can't see Dean Smith making much of a difference so far, and Webber may have been found out. On a brighter note, the KUMB.com forum for those members who are able to get in tonight. Chicken Run Supreme says it's a great result to put us back into the top 4. 6-0 would not have flattered us, and if ever a performance deserved a hat-trick, it was Jared Bowens. He was here, he was there, and I can't say that where tonight, in a rich vein of form. In fact, I'm quite surprised that's got through the censor on KUMB. We'll have to have a look at that one, Pinky, a bit later on. In a rich vein of form is young Jared.
If only I could.
Yes, we'll have you back in the morning. Don't worry about that. Psycho scored the lot, says a good win, that never in doubt. Pete 64-75-80 says, bloody hell, watching the keeper take Vlasic down in the first half. How the hell was that not a penalty? On which Leonard Brook, posting on the live chat just below us there, says, I saw that on my stream, talking about the few seconds of video we showed earlier where Vlasic was hauled to the ground by Kroll. Commentator said Vlasic was backing into Kroll and it was a 50-50. Well, there you go. There's opinions and there's opinions. Burnley Hammer says a good performance, but a couple of negatives. We really need to start finishing teams off a little better when we're dominating like that. We don't make it easy for ourselves. And there was a bit of a patch in the second half when Norwich started to look threatening. That, I feel, was also our own doing. For about 20 minutes, we lost our passing game a little, rushing passes and giving the ball away needlessly. We need to calm down a little in situations like that and keep hold of the ball. Other than that, it was a good performance. We looked much better with Cresswell in the team, and Soufal was his usual consistent self. I don't really get all those who say he's been poor this season. Lanzini also helped a lot from deep with his passing game. Let's just touch on that actually quickly. I know, Pinky, you've given your final thoughts, but I want to come to Lanzini. We did mention that Souček was out tonight. It's sort of gone a bit unnoticed, and we've not really spoken about Lanzini's performance, but he slotted in there really well, didn't he?
Yes, he did, and he's a super footballer. I mean, let's recognise what we're watching. He's a player supremely comfortable on the ball, who wants to be on the ball, will invariably find a teammate with a pass. He's got a decent enough engine on him. He's a good footballer. And as he's demonstrated a couple of times this season, he can score some goals that are absolutely spectacular. Tonight, he's come in. He's done a pretty hard-working job tonight. He's done really well for us tonight, and really, this is a West Ham United team that is currently playing generally so well that we're in fourth spot, 6 behind Chelsea, and I'm reduced to picking holes in a couple of backup centre halves who have kept 2 clean sheets in a row, because that's the only thing I can find to complain about. And it's getting to the point where it's getting harder and harder to find fault in what we're doing, because we're pretty good to watch. I mean, we could have had 7 or 8 goals tonight, and every player played the part. Super stuff from West Ham tonight, and it's kind of like, thrashed them, and we're getting used to it.
Yeah,
stuff. It's great to see, and Lanzini is a lovely footballer. He's a Rolls-Royce footballer. He really is. He's had his injury battles that he's had to overcome, but I am delighted to see a player of his caliber not give up. He's kept plugging away, and he's getting back somewhere near his best. Good player.
It's fantastic, given that maybe as recently as 6 months ago, I think a lot of people would have said that he's played his best football for West Ham, and he's had his time. And last summer there was a lot of people that were saying that it's probably time for him to go and move on. And he's really exceeded expectations, hasn't he? He's come into the side at a difficult time, and he's just really excelled this season. And I don't know if it's his swan song or what, or whether he has, getting back to somewhere near his best that he used to show. But it is wonderful, isn't it, to see him playing with a smile on his face, and also he's such a lovely. I say lad, he's not a lad. He's getting on for 30 years old, but you know what I mean. He's a lovely guy. He's you can see clearly enjoys playing his football. One of those who plays it for the love of the game, and not because of the dollar that he earns for it. Though I'm sure that's a nice added bonus. But can only agree completely with what you say there. It's lovely to see him back at his best, and West Ham, good place to be at the moment. Back up, it's all the fours tonight, isn't it? We put the ball in the net 4 times. It's 4 wins in a row, and of course the mighty Hammers back up to 4th in the Premier League with the points against Norwich, and an added little bonus, Spurs out of the cup as well tonight. So a good night when West Ham win and Tottenham lose. That's about it from us. Myself, my thanks to Pinky for joining me on the stream, also to Gnome, who joined us live from the stadium at halftime and at the end. And also, as always, my thanks to all of you who joined us on the stream, without whom it wouldn't be worth doing this. And we thank you for your continued support, and also of that of KUMB and the forum, which, as we know, is having its difficulties at the moment, but we're doing our very, very best believers to try and iron those out and get normal service resumed. We may see you again at the weekend. We'll let you know as soon as we possibly can. But until then, and for now, West Ham flying once again, 4 wins in a row, back up to 4th in the table, with a player who, if he isn't already in Gareth Southgate's eyes for the next England squad, well, he should be. Jared Bowen, we salute you. Until then, come on, you Irons.